if you want any tips on either how to borrow or sniff panties, hit Antony up at
we'll put his Twitter in the
Panty Thief 69.
It's an art. It's much like smelling wine.
Like fine wine.
Fine wine.
I'm
You have to
almost
be
positive
delicate.
it's nothing like smelling wine.
Okay.
You gotta put your pinky up as well when you're doing
As
it.
you
You take,
sniff,
you
as you
sniff it.
you take
And
a huge waft of the panty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 17. Fuck. 17.
Damn it.
Come on,
17
Kyle.
of the Thought Patrol podcast. We are joined this week by Antony, Caitlyn,
My life is pain and suffering.
and Sam over Discord.
Hello.
we might be joined by Shawn or Jonathan
No,
in
we
a bit.
definitely
I don't know. And the reason for the foul attitude from the other hosts is we just recorded 30 minutes of the podcast and realized only one of the mics was being picked up. So it sounds like dick hole. So we had to restart. And that's what we're doing now. So we're restarting because it sounded like dick hole. And
That's what you call production value, people.
Yep.
Like I said in the other
Oh
recording,
yeah, let's do it.
100% professionalism, 20% of the time.
So let's get into it. We're going to
Maybe
go
like
back.
5% of the
So
time.
intros, real
2.5.
quick. Real quick. How's everyone's week been? Auntie, what you been doing?
What did I say last time?
I don't know.
I picked up Binding of Isaac Rebirth on iOS. It was
Okay.
$15. It was worth every single penny, and I've only had it for like a day, and I don't ever plan on putting it down ever again. And I recently saw Get Out, and it was amazing, but I'm late to that train, so I don't think it's relevant
Pretty late
anymore.
Yeah. What about you, Keon? How you been doing? You know you've been playing Uncharted 4? How's
Can you
that
stop speaking for me?
Damn.
Shit.
Yeah, I've been playing Uncharted 4 thanks to Kyle saying it for me. And I really enjoy it. It's like watching a movie, but playing it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
So like a game.
Sorry, I don't need that. And
It's like Fight Club over here.
I went to school. I worked.
You know.
Played Uncharted.
Is that a penis drawn in dust on the monitor?
Can you
No,
shut the
I
fuck
don't
up?
think so.
Kind of looks like it. See it? Look, right.
Oh, yeah, I feel you. I've been good. I've been playing Uncharted as well. Just a fantastic game. It makes me sad to, even though that Overwatch got still a lot of the hype train from last year, because I really think Uncharted 4 was worth it. Don't stick a magnet to the fucking mic. Are you stupid?
Kyle.
Such
What
a
the
dummy.
hell is wrong
How dumb
with
can
you?
you be? Oh, here's electronic equipment. Let me stick a fucking magnet to it.
How about you stick my butthole in it?
Whoa.
What? How about you stick my what?
Nothing.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Shit.
We'll hear that back in
my
the recording. So, I've been doing good. I've been playing Uncharted as well. Again, fantastic game. Sad to see that Overwatch took most of the hype from it, because I do feel like it was worth a lot of the praise it got. But again, it's Naughty Dog. Everyone knows that Naughty Dog's a fantastic developer. So I have yet to play Lost Legacy. I'm working towards it because I've heard it's a decent game as well. Even though it's not being written. It wasn't written by what's his name, Neil Blomkamp.
Neil Druckmann?
Oh, who's Blomkamp?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Neil
I
Druckmann.
might be thinking someone else.
I don't know, something like that. But the person that wrote the other Uncharted games, it's not being written by him. But I've heard it's good. So it looks just as pretty as Uncharted 4. Super excited
Has
to
a good character to it.
super excited to get into it. Even though Nathan Drake is not in Lost Legacy, I'm still
What?
yeah. I'm still just happy to.
That's awful. I love
That's what they're doing. They're moving away from Nathan Drake.
No.
Yes, go in AD.
I love Nathan Drake.
So yeah, that's what.
He's my guy.
R.I.P.
The title
views.
Thief's End should have hinted you that they're not doing more Nathan
Does that make
Drake.
sense?
You know what? I didn't need that.
What's the title of it?
No, the
Shut
fourth
up.
game's name is Thief's End. So it kind of.
Oh!
Oh my.
Oh!
Oh
I
my
get
God.
it!
See, when you put 2 and 2 together. Wait, what do you get?
4.
Or
Fish. Are you guys fucking idiots? Oh my god. Do I need to draw it out for you? There.
no.
I got you.
Oh my
What
God.
is
That's
this?
my note-taking pad.
I'll be gentle with it. Don't worry.
All right,
So you're gonna have 2.
Everyone put this in your head. 2, and then another 2 drawn perpendicular of it. And look, you got a fish.
Yeah, but you drew that on.
No. Well,
Yes,
the
you
happy
drew
face
the
just
face
We're
and the
not arguing-
eyeballs.
We're not arguing about this.
No,
Anyways.
that's just to visualize the fish. I can draw
Children.
another 2 if you want.
Stop. Oh, God, I smacked the fuck out of my microphone. Stop it. All right.
They
I
better
show
make-
that tricks to my kids at work, and they go like they do backflips over. They're like, whoa!
Go fucking mental.
I wanna work
Maybe
with
not the
kids.
5th graders, but like the kindergartners and 4th.
Fifth graders.
Well, some of them do.
Guys, what's 2 plus 2? And you write and you draw it on the board, and then like a kid's head in the back of the class just explodes.
What's literally what
There's like
happens?
what about the window one? There's one that creates a window.
Yeah, 1 plus 1 is window. Watch. So you got 1
Okay. All right. Okay.
Guys, this is a podcast. This isn't
Plus
a video.
1.
Oh man, look at that.
and then you take the 4 sticks of the plus, and you're like
He basically drew a
Wait.
plus sign.
And then 3 plus 3 is 8.
window.
Window.
And then 3. That's like a kite. And then 3 plus 3 is 8, right, guys?
Oh, I didn't mean to scratch
What?
you.
What?
Anyways.
Oh, yeah,
Stop,
yeah, yeah.
stop,
They better.
3.
stop. Why are we drawing picture? So we got a kindergartner's fish, a kite, and a shitty looking 8 on my note.
Wait, I got one more. So what's 9 plus 11, guys?
21.
All you out there
21.
on the internet.
No, 9 11. What do you?
Craft time with Anthony. He's going to show you how to create images with numbers.
This is so stupid. All right.
I did not see that coming.
It's so stupid. All right.
Damn it.
So I've been playing
I gotta
Uncharted.
use that.
I've been.
Sorry, you said that.
I think this is better than the fucking nuts. I'm so gonna make the joke. It's so gonna be just as funny.
See, now no one's gonna know about the.
No, it's gonna happen again.
Okay.
Oh
we'll
my
have,
God.
All right.
That was sick.
Okay.
High five. That was
So,
exciting.
yeah. All right. I've been playing Uncharted 4.
They better make another character that's just as good as Nathan Drake.
I think the one
They're
in,
gonna have to.
the one in Lost Legacy is Nadine and
Oh, Nadine.
Chloe.
I fucking hate Nadine.
Chloe. Yeah, Nadine and Chloe.
Who's Chloe?
Chloe is from Uncharted 2.
I've only played 4.
She starts
That's
out
not
in-
evident.
All right. So I've been playing also the private beta for World War II for the new Call of Duty game, and there's not really much I can say about it. It's fucking Call of Duty. I am enjoying it, but I was talking to Garrett of the It's Obvious, gaming community. We were talking about now that we're back to boots on the ground. One of the issues with it being boots on the ground is it kind of brings back that boots in the ground mentality. So there's the camping.
Drop
Drop-shotting, jumping around corners, just being overall an annoying ass, and I hate it. And the thing is easy way of fixing it is make it where you're not accurate jumping around a corner or going into prone. Why is it? Make it where while
it
that
less
animation is being performed, there's like a buffer zone on each end of the animation. So as it starts and as after it ends, that you're super inaccurate, and then they'll fix that problem instantly. People won't be assholes
That better be the
and being
intro.
annoying. And I don't care if you consider it like tech or whatever. If you're a Call of Duty pro, FaZe Clan in the listening, it's annoying. And stop it. Stop it.
Stop it.
Get some help.
Yeah, I love
Wise words of
quickscoping.
Michael Jordan.
I remember
Yeah.
where quickscoping was such a big thing in Modern
They still
Warfare 2.
do it.
They had like compilations.
Super
of it, like,
annoying.
everywhere.
And now they have a perk where you could run a sniper and a shotgun because you got 2 primaries.
Yeah.
They're going to patch that out.
I hope so. It's
bad.
annoying. But again, I'm enjoying it being Call of Duty. I like it. It's fun. So that's cool. Now I got to decide whether or not I'm going to pick up that game or pick up Battlefront when they come out, because I think they both come out within a pretty quick time of each other. So we'll see. We got to discuss amongst our group. If you guys listened last week, we did talk about I did pick up a PC that is still not here. It should. I'm hoping it's like 100% guaranteed it will be here by the next episode. So by next episode, we will be in our like studio, our like recording studio kind of, and I'll have a computer set up. When that is set up, I'll start to put my Steam name and stuff down. So if you want to play with me, I'm the only one that has a computer currently that can do like most of the bigger games. And then we always have our PS4 names in the description. So that's how we all been doing. How about you, Sam? How you been doing? I'm called Shawn.
I've been doing pretty good. Pretty normal work week. Nothing super crazy. Let's see. Speaking of Naughty Dog, I picked up Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy game from PS2. That actually came as a pre-order bonus if you got Lost Legacy. If you pre-ordered Lost Legacy, got that for free. It came out individually. So I picked that up, played it. It was really fun. Like I remembered it back in the day. I actually platinumed it. I started Tuesday and did it just last night, so that was pretty cool. My second platinum ever. Our first was Walking Dead, which most people probably have that one.
Which Walking
Great
Dead?
game.
The Telltale Walking
Platform
Dead?
was a little. Yes. The first,
How do you
yeah.
platinum that?
Just by
platform was
playing
a
the
little-
game.
You get like all the
pretty
endings?
much. That's
Yeah,
what
all you
they
gotta
need
do is play
Telltale.
the game and you'll get the platinum.
Telltales are automatic platinums. Anyway,
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Every
I just watched. I just
snort.
the
Every
snort.
That was cute.
That was so cute. Okay, I just watched people play that game, so I never actually played it myself.
we have so many wires in this room.
So yeah, that was fun. And then I've been playing a lot of Sonic Mania. That is such a fantastic game. The music is just really great. I think it's what it shows to you that if you give fans who are talented and who want to make a great game based on their favorite game, let them do it. This is what I think a lot of studios with older games should let fans do, because a lot of times the fans know what fans want. So great game. Haven't finished it yet. I'm still playing through it. Highly recommend it if you whatever platform. I would recommend on Switch. It is so fun to play on Switch. It is so cool. Feels really good. PS4 looks great too, but I got it on Switch. It's fantastic. And let's see. I watched Death Note, the new Netflix movie. Very interesting take on the series. It's very Americanized. Again, and it was pretty decent for what it was. Without spoiling anything, I thought the cast was pretty interesting. A lot of people I didn't know. William Dafoe did a fantastic job voice acting a certain character. Just really great voice that just goes from crazy to calm and back and forth. So thought that was great. Been watching Black Mirror. Black Mirror is a fantastic show on Netflix. It's basically Twilight Zone, but in a modern sense. So if you like Twilight Zone or any of those weird like what if stories, this is the way to go. Fantastic show. But other than that, that's pretty much what my week's been.
Cool. Sounds good. I'm glad you all can join us, including the listeners out there, wherever you're listening in from. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. We got a pretty packed episode for you guys. Up ahead, we're going to be talking about the return of challenge games in the basically game medium as our main topic. And as always, we'll have our Germany or Florida box office tops, everything that we go through normally. So moving forward, we're going to move on to our housekeeping real quick.
Housekeeping.
There you go. Fantastic. So
No, Mr. Superman, no here.
no.
Stop.
Housekeeping. Get your pillow.
I
Need
need to go to store and buy more lemon pledge.
more limit. No. Pete, no.
No.
It's gonna be the next 45 minutes of the podcast.
No. Mr. Superman, no
This is
here.
the Consuela hour. Thank you for tuning in.
I was doing the Tommy Boy housekeeping. That was my favorite thing from that movie.
We're talking about Family Guy.
But Sean's here.
Shawn!
What's up, boo?
God!
Stop. All right. Sean, we fucked up, so you're just on time because we wasted 30 minutes because I wasn't.
And by we, he means he.
I wasn't recording both mics, so.
You missed my 9/11 joke.
Oh my God, that was great. Shawn!
All right, stop. We're now we're running on a time constraint because I have work tonight. So,
Oh shit.
all right.
How are you gonna sleep?
No. So we're.
Wait.
Sleep is for the week. What are you
No, are
talking
you
about?
gonna sleep tomorrow when we go see the movie?
Yeah, I'll sleep before we leave. You just gotta
Okay.
come home and wake me up.
So I'll come home and then you can meet us here so we can all leave
Yeah,
together.
and then I'll just wake up and get my fat ass self dressed. All
All
right.
right, stop that handshake.
All right. Stop. Okay. I'm gonna cut us 14. Blah blah. I'm gonna cut us back in. All right. So what were we? Okay. So we're gonna move on to our housekeeping. Thank you all for joining us
You're welcome.
again.
You're welcome.
I'm a broken record, and by the power of editing,
Shut
we
up.
have
Just stop.
fucking Sean.
I missed you, Shawn.
It's magic. I missed you too, Bay.
Yo, the tick is on.
So
I haven't watched it.
So Shawn, how has your week been? How's everything been going for you?
I fight for love and money.
My life story.
Sounds like a fucking Power Ranger or something.
Overworked and underpaid.
I did a Power Ranger Sailor Moon pose when I said it. So
Cool. I didn't hear the explosion, so I'll just
That's how
accept
you
that
got
it
my first
happened.
paycheck.
I'm all out of explosions, dude. Yeah, it's just imaginary, straight up imagination. I'm too poor for explosions right now.
Oh, okay.
Can't
Cool.
afford 'em.
Yeah, imagination is important though. So I'm glad you could join us too. Again, we screwed up, so you will be joining us for most of the episode.
You,
I
not
screwed
us.
up. Whatever. I
You.
wasn't recording both mics, so it
I
sounded
don't
like
did
asshole.
that.
So
I didn't do nothing.
all right. So
What
again,
does asshole sound like exactly?
like what your mic sounds every time you speak to us on Discord.
Oh my
Where
God,
you
Kyle,
sound-
what's the problem?
Okay. So
Sounds
Sounds a
wonderful.
little something like this. I wonder how that.
I'm sure that was very
came through.
that was very pleasing to the ears, I'm sure. All right, so
That's like how most country songs start. It goes a little something like this.
okay, so with the
What is that
housekeeping.
noise?
Wait, that's Shawn probably, most likely. So with the housekeeping, we have, if you guys like our content, feel free to subscribe either on podcasting services or on YouTube, our home channel, where we do most of this stuff. You could also join our Discord, where most of our hosts are, and you could come talk to us. We do have a Twitter you could follow as well. All these ways to connect with us will be in the Discord below, or in the description below. And feel free to leave some feedback either on the YouTube video or send us something on Discord or leave us a review on iTunes. Anything any type of constructive feedback, we'd really appreciate it. And if you do want to leave a review, it will get read on the podcast. No matter what it is, we'll stick to that. If you write a 1-star review saying we sound like shit and we're not funny, that shit's getting read on the podcast. So,
Naked.
Encourage them.
don't encourage them. So, we don't really have anything for the mailbag this week, but if you guys do want to send us questions to talk about on the podcast, you can either send it to us through Gmail at thoughtpatrolcast@gmail.com, which all these will be in the description again, or you could drop a comment saying you want it read on the podcast. You could do our mailbag section in the Discord or add us on Twitter with the hashtag TPMailbag. So, moving forward past all that, we're going to do a curtain call for our Germany or Florida segment. Although we've already done this once, so we pretty much know who's doing what. We're going to set up the roles. We're going to have Caitlyn being the anchor. Kyle shall be the interviewer, and then Sam will be doing his fantastic British accent for us all. So also
Making our
the
asses look
article.
good.
This article is man steals 850 pairs of underwear from Victoria's Secret.
So Antony.
So Antony, yeah.
No, like I said in the other recording, I would borrow them.
Yeah.
Not steal, borrow.
Okay.
I'd give them back eventually.
All right, so
Other-
they would
like-
go back
other-
after a little bit of some sniffing, right?
Just a little.
50-50
Like I said.
shot whether he washes them, you know?
No. This is what I said last
Yeah,
time.
share your strategy.
This is why I said last time that I have to get them back within a reasonable amount of time. And in order to go through, how many was it? 850?
Yeah.
It would have to be a really quick sniff. Just like,
$15,000
And that's it.
worth. Enough to buy a motherfucking new car worth of
Exactly.
Yeah.
underwear.
who needs a new car where you could borrow 850 pairs of
I
underwear?
like how you're emphasizing the word borrow.
Yes, borrow.
Yes, it is-
Oh,
it
Did he just do
borrow.
bunny ears? Did he throw up the bunny ears? Did he do it?
What?
The two fingers, the quotations.
Borrow.
Oh, the
bunny
quotations.
ears.
Oh yeah.
He's doing them now. So yeah. So that, if you want any tips on either how to borrow or sniff panties, hit Antony up at
Yeah, we'll put his Twitter in the
Panty
description.
Thief 69.
It's like it's an art. It's much like smelling wine.
like fine
do-
wine.
do you-
Fine wine.
I'm
You have to
almost
be
positive
delicate.
it's nothing like smelling wine.
Okay.
You gotta put your pinky up as well when you're doing
As
it.
you
You take,
sniff-
you
As
sniff it.
you take
And
a huge waft of the panty.
yes, but it's only a quick
going
one.
to
You
so many
you don't
dark
want
places.
But how do you
Like,
fully
over- like,
enjoy it?
You don't want to. You don't want to
overpower your senses
don't wanna-
because then you don't indulge in it. It's just a quick whiff. And you use while you're holding it with one hand, pinky up. You take your other hand and you gently wave the smell into your nose.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Okay, and then.
It hurts.
And then you go. And then that's it. Really gentle.
Oh my god.
You have to be gentle.
Talking about cringe.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
Good.
Antony, I gotta tell you, man, if Caitlyn hadn't claimed me, I probably would have married you.
Oh, man. I still have
So
a
again,
chance.
Shawn.
Coming in for the steal.
Shawn.
Hit him up on Twitter at PantyThief69 and
You have a full detailed description in Twitter.
yeah,
And
his bio is his picture's just a panty.
Yes.
Inside out assholes.
Now, see, what do you prefer, Anty? Do you prefer the 2D or the 3D panty?
Now you see the difference between the two.
Oh my god.
It just depends on your tastes.
Okay.
Now, the 2D and the 3D. Let's start with the 3D because that's what most people are familiar with.
Okay.
So
You
the
did this,
3D
Colin.
is
You got it
you can.
started.
It has a smell. Let's just get the fact that there's 2D and 3D. 3D is actually gonna have a smell, but the thing with 2D is that you can almost imagine a smell there, and you can you can
and your
fabricate.
imagination just goes wild. Like if you were
Yes.
to read a good book.
Yes,
Yes, I
you
feel you.
come up with like your almost like your ideal smell if it
Okay.
comes to 2D.
Oh my
Now
God.
3D, like I said, you got to go back to that process I explained earlier, and you just got to find the one that you like. You just got
You waft it.
yes, you
Are
want.
we done? Are we done with this?
Do you have a specific
No,
brand
we're
that
good here, we're good here.
gets the perfect waft from your experience?
Haynes?
Well, I'm still
Is it Haynes?
I'm still hunting for that
That perfect waft.
that perfect
The
waft. I
pure-
haven't found it
the
yet.
purest of ecstasies.
So-
He just like stopped.
So
You can see his eyes
I think,
dilating.
I think the closest
Pulse
that I've
quickens,
been
like
to that
hyperventilating starts.
perfect, just what I'm looking for is Fruit of the Loom, 1997. Or wait, or was it 1999? I think it was one of those 2 years, but it's a really small span. So if you're anything like me, you want to look within those time frames right there,
Okay.
97, 99.
Okay.
That's supposed to be
just-
rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really rare. That's why it's
Very
really hard
vintage,
to find.
vintage, very vintage. Okay.
It's an acquired smell.
Okay, so final question: with or without shit stains? Okay, no, I'm done.
No, no,
Let's leave that unanswered.
And he's like, I don't associate myself with that kind of people.
Let's leave that unanswered.
I just sniff clean panties, please. I am not of the lower race. All right. That was probably the best tangent we've ever had on
That
the show.
was
All right.
down the rabbit hole.
All right,
Oh my
so
gosh.
now that we have all of our roles already set up, Shawn, what the fuck
You
are you
gotta-
doing?
You gotta be
mixing a
gentle
drink?
with them. Gentle. You're ruining the smell.
All right,
It's only the smells. It's only smells.
all right, Shawn, I need you to be quiet while we do our breaking news segment so people can hear what we're talking about. So we're gonna move on to our breaking news.
Penis.
Penis.
We're gonna move on to our
Penis.
Stop. We're gonna move on to our Germany or photo segment with our breaking news.
No, stop, Sam. That's my thing. All right, here we go. And we're back again this fine evening on Channel 69 News with more fantastic current events involving the very best that humanity has to offer. This evening's tale is filled with lurid and forbidden passion and a trail of stolen, silken small clothes. Small clothes is a synonym for undies. Icon thesaurus.
Icon.
The news tonight is going to be simply delightful, I'm sure. Here with more is our intrepid imbecile, Kyle.
Thanks, Anchor. You know you love me. Yeah. However, the robbery earlier tonight was inspired by a different kind of, love. 18-year-old Smurdley Tidgrease is currently in police custody, having been arrested for lacy larceny of the undergarment kind, and we have been granted an interview with him. He is accused of stealing over $15,000 worth of women's undergarments from the local Vicky's Backdoor Lingerie Emporium. Mr. Titgrease, what was it that inspired you to steal enough women's underwear to rival what many individuals would pay for their vehicle?
Well, you bloody wanker. I just takes what I want when I want it, eh? What you gonna stop me for, eh? Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of softness around me softies.
Okay, I like my balls being comfortable as much as the next guy, but since when does that make it okay to commit grand theft undie? It sounds to me like you're just a kinky vandal virgin with a chip on their shoulder the size of J-Lo's ass and a penchant for pilfering panties.
Stop that.
That's you, Sam.
Too quick there.
Oi, I got news for you, you punts. I ain't no freak. Just 'cause I enjoy a nice satin pair of girls' knickers, warm nearly a toasty fire and a fresh against me backside, don't mean a thing. I simply have a good taste and enjoy comfort.
It seems like a man of your stature, Antony. Seems like a man of your stature.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so how does a thirsty, thieving thonster who still lives at home start loving ladies' lingerie? Where does this unbelievable underwear urgency come from?
My guy. Stop it.
Listen, this brass breeze burglar needs to...
Kyle, you with this awful, asinine, ass-tart alliteration absurdity. When will the pain stop?
Revenge! Years of suffering. You guys have heard the recent episodes. The pain I've been put through. The attempts at suicide. The purchase bleach. The bullets picked up from the store. The guns cocked and almost shot. The countless gallons of wine and alcohol. I have been avenged. I live. Sam?
Mate? We still doing this? Where are you going? We ain't done yet. Oi!
Enjoy the jail time, fucko. Ta. As you folks at home, our anchor is otherwise indisposed and can't bid you good night. So whatever you wear in your jumblies, have a fantastic fucking evening. I'm out.
I'll be back. I'm not done here. Who thought?
This is our MCU for Channel 69 News. So much strife amongst the interviewers and reporters. So I see people moving their curses everywhere. What are you fuckers typing?
It's him. It's not me.
There's gonna be a penis down the line. I'm calling it right now.
Just a big ass
All right.
picture.
So guesses.
I say
I'm
Florida.
going Florida. Sounds like Florida to me.
Because Antony's here, I mean.
Yeah, Florida.
Yeah.
Maybe
Does
it
it
was
sound like a Florida panty sniffer, Antony? I know you know the kind. Does it sound like your crowd?
Yeah. He seems to have a really refined taste.
Refined?
Much like
Okay.
I do, so I'm gonna say Florida.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. What about you, Shawn? Guesses?
God, I hope it's Florida.
Alrighty.
All right, so we'll come back to that answer after we go through our box office tops. Real quick. Oh, excuse me. So at number 1, we have The Hitman's Bodyguard, which made $29 million for this week. It is its first week, and it had a budget of $30 million. So at number 2, we have Annabelle Creation, which had made $21 million this week, with
Also known as cancer.
a 54% drop from last week. On its second week, it has made $70 million total with a $15 million budget.
Jesus.
So
Their budget was 15?
yeah,
Damn.
I mean, it's a shitty horror movie.
True.
So after that, we have Logan Lucky in third, which had made a $10 million budget. It is only its first week, so again, $10 million, and it has a $29 million budget. I think I said budget by
Yeah,
accident
you did.
earlier. So at number 4, we have Dunkirk, which had made $9 million this week, a 41% drop from last week, and a total of $168 million over the 5-week total. At number 5, we have The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature, which made $7 million with a 39% drop for a total of $20 million by week 2 with a budget of $40 million. So that's interesting.
That sucks.
It's never gonna be as funny. It's
No,
not gonna be
come
as
on,
funny.
do it.
It's not gonna do it as funny.
Son of a
It's not as
bitch.
funny. It's not as funny.
Okay,
You guys missed it.
as a
Hopefully Kyle
reference,
puts it back in.
Etsy made a
You gotta find a way.
fantastic nut joke. What'd you say? Just give me an
He's like,
example.
I think he's like,
He's like,
that's nutty or something.
Yes, that's exactly
wow,
what
that's
it-
nuts, or something like that. I think
Yes.
that's what you said.
It
Yeah.
was so good. It was so fucking good.
But that has been lost to the Aether web.
no, it's lost
you can-
thanks to Kyle.
No, you
Sorry.
can put it back in.
Yeah, but
Just-
it will sound like dickhole.
It's okay.
No, it's okay.
It'll be like a behind the scenes.
We
Yes,
should do that.
It's
those
okay.
are-
We still got 9/11.
Okay. So those are, God damn it. So those are the tops for the box office for this week. Yeah, cool stuff. I'm glad the Emoji Movie's off the top 5 now.
Thank
I
God.
don't know
Thank the
how I
Lord.
even got on there.
Did they make their budget?
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
So we might see a second.
No.
Knowing Sony.
Huh?
Knowing Sony, we probably see a second.
Sony did that?
Yeah.
You know,
Why Sony?
You know, like the Jacksepticeye guy? Like, he was a part of that movie.
Jacksepticeye. What? Really?
Yeah, it was like all over his
What?
Twitter, and like people were like making fun of him for it.
That's
Like
funny.
he was,
I
I think he
feel
was
so
a,
bad.
I think he was a
What happened
voice
to Jack?
actor.
What
I think
happened?
he was like in that movie or something. He was like
In the Emoji
promoting
Movie.
it.
He was promoting the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, I think he was in
Oh,
it like,
God.
as a voice actor.
Oh, rip.
I don't know.
Wasn't what's his name? The ex Dr. Xavier. Wasn't he the poop
I don't
emoji?
even know who the fuck.
Oh
X-Men. What's
yeah,
his name?
Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart. He was the poop emoji.
That man, that's when your
That's
career goes down the
also on
shitter, literally.
we made up the joke.
The puns.
Caitlyn has saved the night.
I got
Yes.
you.
Caitlyn has saved the night. God damn it.
Yep.
I feel
got you
so
guys.
bad for that microphone over there. You guys have just abused it to shit, screaming into it and stuff.
No pop filter.
It's Antony and Tyler that are always screaming at the
Oh man.
fucking mic.
I can barely hear
Me?
her. Yeah.
No, it's Antony that's the one screaming.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, dude, I can hear you, but Caitlyn
It's
sounds
me,
like
yeah.
she's sitting outside.
Oh, okay.
You wanna go?
Do her
You
down
wanna
in the
go?
fucking hallway or something.
I'll throw some hands.
It's
Let's go.
because she sits like 10 feet away from the fucking mic every time she speaks.
And it sounds like she's talking at the end of a tunnel like this.
Fuck off, Antony.
Oh, dropping everything. All right. So,
Excuse you. Oh my god.
just a shit
Trying
show
to
over
pick
here.
up your head.
Thank you, sir. So, see, now I don't know. I'm assuming these are the new ones because I'm gonna assume so. Let's
Yeah,
hope.
you scratched out the first one.
Okay, so let's move on back to Germany or Florida. We're gonna have the answer. So, our answer to the Germany or Florida segment is going once, going twice. Florida.
Yeah.
Antony, was it you? Was it you?
It was Antony.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my
This is his
God.
first. This is his first. This is his first run.
Yeah.
Oh
This is his
shit.
first run.
Shit.
I told you I
I'm
got
honored.
He just pulled a British voice to
They say
to throw them off.
They say steal because I haven't exactly returned them
Do you
yet.
ever return it?
No.
How long did it this was in 2013, Antony. How long did it take to get those?
Well, it's 850, and I gotta take my time. I want to make sure I find the one penny.
Oh my god. So
it
it's
has to
taking
be
like
that one.
so it's taking 4 years.
Yeah.
Yes, each
All right, so we
penny
got
takes
300
about
we got
15 to
300
30 minutes.
We got 365 days in the year. All right, 24 hours in a
You
day.
can finish the 850 pennies in a year.
16
Antony, you
16,000 hours.
You have fallen from grace, Antony. You can't get through 850 pennies in 4 years. You're getting
I
out of
know.
your groove, dude.
I know. Back in my heyday, I used to do 10,000 in like a week.
Oh my god.
That's a lot, my guy.
My god. I can't believe it. You're not even the man I used to know.
God, I got
now you're
to
just
work back up
somebody
to
that I
it.
used to know.
All right. So that was the
Thanks for
answer.
those backups. Even though they're a lot of their money.
I didn't know we were having a recording session tonight.
Yes.
All right. So that was the answer. So let's go ahead and move on to our news segment. We're going to have some of the hosts read through the news. So you want to go first, Nancy?
Yeah.
Going the wrong way.
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
Lay it on us.
Final Fantasy 15 dev won't censor nude mods, leaving them up to moral sense of players. Final Fantasy 15 is coming to PC next year, and as with any PC game, players will want to mod it. I know I modded the shit out of Left 4 Dead 2.
Okay.
I had all the characters replaced by anime characters. It was the
Sick.
stupidest
Oh my
shit.
God.
Remember the Hatsune Miku scar?
Yeah.
No.
That was the best. Not every mod ends up being kid friendly because I remember half of those anime characters were like in like bathing suits. Well, not half of them. There was a couple of them. They were like the bathing suit like models of like some Vocaloids.
You mean
Not
every
every-
character that you modded didn't have an inside-out asshole?
Maybe, just maybe.
That was the mod, the inside out asshole
Yes.
mod. Everything had an inside out
I remember
asshole.
the mod that made the tank Shrek.
Oh
then
yeah,
the
and then
tank
every
theme.
time the tank theme was the Shrek
Smash
was
Mouth.
the Smash Mouth. That's fucking awesome. I remember that.
It was in slow motion too, so it sounded terrible. It was scary. All right,
man.
not every
never
mod ends
forgive
up.
you for that picture of Eris, Antony. I will never forgive you.
The Eris Morn incident.
Yes. Hopefully,
Of 2015.
I'm looking
I don't
forward
know when the hell that happened.
to my redditors.
That was this
finding
year,
me
Kyle. That was this year.
Destiny 2.
Eris Morn was not this year. Eris Morn was 1 or 2 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah.
Damn, time
was when we-
flies.
we-
Yeah, we've been gaming for a while.
Yeah.
Oh
Damn.
my god.
Well, not every mod ends up being kid friendly. There are most inevitably be mods that say remove the clothes of the characters. However, Square Enix has stated that it won't limit or censor nude mods, opting instead to give players as much freedom as possible. In the view of the director Hajime Tabata, these mods aren't desired, but it's worse to restrict the mod community. As a result, he and Square Enix will leave mods up to the discretion of players. Quote, what's stronger in my mind is the fact that I don't want to limit people too much, end quote, Tabata stated. Quote, this is part of the culture gaming these days. It's a thing that they've brought, it's their game now, end quote. Shawn, any comments?
No, there's more. There's more. There's
Oh,
more.
okay.
Finish it.
I will tell you right now, it gives it up to your discretion, which means you have the discretion to play a better game.
Damn.
Shit.
Oh,
Where's the better game mod for Final Fantasy
Shit.
15? What if someone actually stood there and made a mod where it made it fucking turn by turn based combat? Wouldn't that be fucking
At the
insane?
very least, fix the fucking story. Add in the 30 plus minutes
That's
that
the
they
newest
chopped
one,
out
15?
so that it made sense.
All right, continue the article.
I
Let's
see it
finish
happening.
first before we.
Okay, this is just everything that he's gonna say. So none of that open quote, end quote. I don't think it's a good thing that we're going to leave it to the moral sense of the players out there, he continued. I basically want, as a principle, to give as much freedom and as little limitations on it as penis.
Stop.
God damn it,
Thanks, Shawn. Thanks.
as possible. The PC version of Final Fantasy 15 doesn't have a specific release date yet. Square Enix has only stated that it'll launch sometime in early 2018.
At least it's coming to PC because that means it could be played in like fucking fantastic because they're supporting it graphically, so it'll be uncapped frame rates, 4K possibilities, and that game's
you-
super pretty.
Did you hear the file size of the game?
No, I did not. How big is it?
168 gigs.
Oh my
Jesus,
God.
it is a big game.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I remember
That's insane.
even with the disc, I had to install another like 70 gigs on top of that or some shit like that. So it's crazy.
They were talking about maybe trying to move a version of Final Fantasy 15 to the Switch. That's what the director said.
Yeah, bullshit.
That's
It could be
no, that's
that
impossible.
it could be that chibi version of the game.
The pocket
Yeah.
version.
Yeah, the pocket
That's literally
version of the game.
impossible.
All right.
Oh god, that thing looks terrifying.
I think that someone will come up and try to improve on the game because I remember them making like stories out of like
Yo,
Left 4
you're making
Dead.
so much
the
That will
Left 4
be
Dead game.
way down the road. Initially, we'll get an influx of Cindy nude mods.
Yeah.
I'm calling it 100%.
Yeah.
Or Luna Freya nude
Anybody
mods.
doubts that? It's not like they have to do much. Remove like 14 ounces of clothing and she's naked.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is leave her boots on.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
my
It's a
God.
thing. It's a thing, Kyle. It's a thing.
I'm sorry,
It's
it's
a
a thing. Coming from our master of panty sniffing.
Yes.
The Lord
That
of
is your title now, dude.
I
Lord
am-
Panty sniffer.
I am your modern.
Grand High
I am your
Poobah.
modern Renaissance man. I am
the Lord of Lewd.
a little bit of everything. I'm the jack of all trades, you could say. The Renaissance man.
Sure.
I like the Lord of Lewd. That's good. Why is there a picture of a crying dog in our doc? What the fuck is
That
going
wasn't
on?
me.
You like the memes, guys?
That was the waifu.
All right, cool. Moving on to the next article.
I call it.
You wanna read
It's
it?
short.
Okay, read it.
All right. Can you stop making so much goddamn noise?
Stop. Come on.
All right, let's get through this.
This is the
All right.
God.
That's what I'm excited about.
Oh wait. Oh shit.
Me too.
All right. Ready? Everybody ready? Okay.
Yes, Caitlyn, read into the fucking mic. I see you.
You want me to read it? I'll read
Did you
it.
see her? She went to go sit on the other side of the door, being blocked completely.
Secret of Mana is
Stop. Go.
Is it Mana? Yeah.
Mana.
Yes, Mana.
Secret of Mana is being remade for PS4, Vita, and Steam. And Shawn is stoked.
Put that shit online. Like, we could all play it together. Like,
That'd be
groups
cool.
of 3. That would be fucking awesome. It's such a good game.
Are you gonna let me finish?
I'm gonna let you finish, but Shawn is the cutest of the year.
All right. Secret of Mana, one of the most beloved SNES RPGs, is being remade from the ground up for PS4, PS Vita, and Steam. It's set for release on Friday, February 15, 2018. Showing its 16-bit looks for high-definition 3D, this iteration of Secret of Mana tends to keep everything you love about the 1993 title, but improve it for the modern day. The remake will always also include unspecified gameplay updates and an entirely new musical score. What the hell's going on here?
Guys, I'm gonna remove your ability to edit the document.
I'll take the dog away.
You need to stop messing around.
No fun.
Shawn, you have a
I
history.
I will say, hey, just because I started the funny doesn't mean that the funny is my fault.
All right.
You were the example, Shawn.
All right.
You notice how this says remake? It says remake. It's not a redo. It's not a cover. It's supposed to be the same game, not like what they're doing with Final Fantasy VII. That is the part that I zoned in on. I'm still excited for Final Fantasy VII to see what they do and to light them on fire if they fuck that shit up. But I think that Secret of Mana is something that I think it'll be hard to fuck that game up.
No,
I think they're just rehauling it graphically and leaving the game
what I'm
pretty much the
surprised
same.
is that it's not coming to Switch. Like, I don't know why that would be a fantastic title to play.
Yeah.
I guess maybe
It'll come to Switch. It'll come to Switch eventually.
I hope so. I think
Whoa.
PlayStation has some type of grasp on it. That's why we're only seeing it, because we're not seeing it for Xbox and stuff like that. But usually that's what it comes to with JRPGs.
Nintendo had the last ones. It had the last 3 installments on DS. The last 2 or 3 installments were on DS. So they still have an active relationship with Nintendo. I just think it's going to be. I think Sony gets that first release clause where their platforms get Square RPGs first.
Yeah.
And then 3 months after, it can go wherever.
Yeah, I feel you. All right, moving on to the next article. We have Overwatch's Mercy has been changed dramatically in the PTR. So we're going to go over some of the
I didn't know about this.
Now, this is a fucking crazy change to what we're doing.
This is bananas, dude.
Yeah, shortly after Blizzard's announcement of the upcoming changes to D.Va, which is they are making her defense matrix, like, you know how there's like a resource for a defense matrix?
Right.
That's being consumed twice as fast as before.
Holy
so basically,
shit, what?
her thing's been reduced by 50%.
Barely lasts anyway.
Yeah,
You could hold it for about 6 seconds, 7 seconds.
That's not a lot, though.
In a fight, it is. If you're being lit up by a team
That
and you're
depends on
being
who's hitting it.
completely nullified. No, it doesn't. It's the same time no matter what. It's not a shield. It just absorbs every projectile in the game. So, it depends, because if you're being completely surrounded by a D.Va and all she does is keeping her thing on you, you are completely nullified as a character. It's like as much as deleting you, and then her team can just sweep you up. So for 7 seconds of being completely reduced and not being able to do anything unless you're a character that has something that doesn't fire projectiles, you're kind of fucked. So it's interesting. So they've done that. They made it where you could use her guns while firing or while boosting. So if you boost, you can use her guns now. And then they changed it where now she has another ability where she fires a missile salvo. So she could fire mini rockets, like a bunch of rockets, to do more damage, and they'd have like a small area of effect. And her ultimate's still the same.
Okay.
So they made her more of an off-tank damage than someone that just sits there and acts as a projectile wall and stuff like that.
Right.
So Blizzard has announced an entire new plan for Mercy's role in the future of Overwatch's meta. Mercy's ultimate has been replaced entirely, and Resurrect is now a standard ability. Rather than bringing all of her nearby teammates back to life, however, it targets a single teammate within 5 meters, has a 30-second cooldown, and does not provide her invulnerability while casting.
That's kind of BS, though.
Her new ultimate, we'll talk about it in a second. Her new ultimate is Valkyrie, which unleashes a full power of Mercy's Valkyrie suit. This buffs both the weapons and abilities for 20 seconds. Here's how Blizzard describes its effects on each part of her kit. So her staff, Mercy's healing and damage boost beams, will now affect all allies near the targeted teammate, and the staff's effective range has been extended. Her gun is granted infinite ammo and will simultaneously increase damage and fire rate. The Guardian Angel, which is the thing where she dashes to people, that has an increased range and movement speed. The Resurrect cooldown is instantly reset when Valkyrie is activated and reduced to 10 seconds after the initial cast. The Hover now grants Mercy the ability to fly freely at increased movement speeds, and her regeneration passive is no longer interrupted when Mercy takes damage.
So she basically gets a giant ass buff when she.
It's like it's for like 15 seconds, I think, too.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I think it's
a point.
She's
Okay,
like
so
the
now-
opposite of Lucio. She boosts your damage.
Yeah,
whereas
so
Lucio
I'm gonna
boosts your defense.
I'm gonna explain what I think they're trying to do with Mercy, because the way they explained it from what I watched on the update, the developer update, is that what they saw was happening to Mercy is as she built her ult, her res, people were saying, go off, stop healing, go hide somewhere, and then everyone die, and I'll res everybody. And they didn't like the fact that that's how what Mercy was turning into. And as what they're trying to do is push her in a role where she's constantly staying and supporting her teammates. She's not going to hide off and fuck off and wait for everyone to die and then res the entire team. And another thing they were talking about is if the enemy pops 2 to 3 ults just to wipe a team and then Mercy swoops in and reses the whole team, it doesn't seem...
That's pretty much game over, because if that whole team that just got wiped out...
Yeah, but that's also a clutch. That's a clutch win.
Yeah, but the idea is that...
Well, yeah, that's true.
The idea is that they don't want it where there's like a mulligan effectively in the game. They don't want you to be able to do over something. The idea is because it ruins the need to count. You don't if you
have
know
a strategy.
If you know you have a Mercy, your strategy is just everyone die. It doesn't fucking matter if the Mercy's good enough. She'll come in and res everybody. The problem, what they're trying to do is they want to make it where you're more aware of the enemy's ultimates, because it's harder to come back from something like that. Now, they haven't completely removed the ability to survive an ultimate. They still have Zenyatta and Lucio. You can still survive an alt stack. You just have to be more careful. And I like the idea that they changed it to a single, and it's now an ability. It's got so every 30 seconds you could res someone for free. And
Now wait, is it a teammate or your whole team?
a teammate, a single teammate, can be resurrected for every 30 seconds.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah, so she can't res her whole team every 30 seconds. That'd be stupid. The only thing I have with the only problem I have
is stupid.
The only problem I have with Valkyrie is that it lasts too long. I think it's cool. I think the ability of her flying and using her suit that way is nice because it gives her more freedom to be like active. It's
To
not
have
something,
a different role.
Yeah, she's still basically like she's watching over everybody.
Yeah, support.
But she can do it from a greater distance, and she basically gives herself it's like a get out of jail kind of free card because she's able to heal quicker and stuff like that. The gun is all right. I've seen clips of people Ana boosting Mercy and her using her ult and her just wiping a whole team with her gun because she's like flying around and shit and it's hard to hit her.
Wait, imagine double stacking that ult.
I like most of it. I just don't think. I don't know. Like
I understand what they're.
That length is really what gets me because Lucio's is what 10 seconds.
Lucio's ult? What are you talking about?
Boost.
Oh,
Lucio's ult, the defense boost.
Oh, his shield. His shield doesn't have a set time. It just decays very quickly. So it depends. If you're taking damage, the shield will go by quicker than if you weren't taking damage. But I'd say Lucio's shield, if he pops it on you and you don't take any damage, it probably lasts like 3 seconds around there.
That's 20.
Or hers is 15. But hers is just her. She's just boosting herself, or Lucio's providing his whole team of 500 health.
Oh, I read it as she buffs the team.
No. The way her staff is better, where if she ults, now what happens if she's healing someone, if there's teammates nearby the person she's healing, the beam will extend to those teammates. So you can heal multiple people at a time with your ultimate active. So if your whole team groups up, you could heal your whole team simultaneously if your ult is active. So. But then again, you that doesn't make them invincible. You could still kill them with like a Pharah ult or a Reaper ult because her healing it doesn't buff the healing, it just extends it. So, or she can
she seems
damage.
like she's got a bigger survivability now because the biggest complaint with Mercy is that nobody protects her.
Yeah. So and it's making her where she's staying in that support role. She's not going to run off and hide behind a building and wait for the whole team to die. They didn't like that Mercies were just leaving their teammates to die. They didn't like the way the meta formed that way. So that's why they changed it. So I can see where they're coming from. So who wants to read the next article?
I'll take it.
This is
Yes.
It's funny.
MVP.
Oh,
All right.
All right, here we go. Blizzard apologizes to the entire country of Australia about Overwatch. Overwatch game director Jeff Kaplan has issued an apology to the entire country of Australia over perceived cultural insensitivity regarding the new Junkertown map. The map is set in Australia, and it has a sign that uses the American term takeout instead of the Australian version takeaway. This isn't the only element of the new Junkertown map that is gathering some amount of controversy. The map's announcement trailer has a voiceover that states they thought they could take our land and give it to the machines. Blizzard caught some heat on social media over the "they thought they could take our land" line in light of Australia's controversial history regarding indigenous people groups.
So, can we all agree that this is
Eye roll.
retarded?
Everyone just eye roll.
Absolutely. Like, how much? Good lord, man! How sensitive do you have to be? Really?
Well,
Takeaway? That's
well,
that's a controversy because fuck's sake.
Right. We'll see. Like, I think it's stupid, but I also look at it from their perspective. If you're going to have a place that's in that country, in that environment, you should at least have there should be some reference to their diction and their way of speaking. I think it's dumb, but again, I can understand why they would be upset about it.
That over.
So
I don't understand the upset part at all. I understand that this isn't right, and then somebody's like, "Oh shit, sorry." Tap tap tap. Look at that. We replaced some letters. It's fixed now.
But this
and then
is
the
also...
Aboriginal reference, like, really, you're stretching a bit on that one. And even if you weren't, I mean, that serves as a conversation piece. That doesn't serve as a controversy. That's ridiculous.
This also is news that I'm referencing, so it could be blown out of the water like news tends to do.
Yeah.
It could have been someone like adding him, like, "Oh, hey, it's not takeaway, it's takeout," and the news people are like, "Oh shit, fight," you know, kind of stuff like that. So I didn't look into it enough. I just thought it was interesting. So it could be news blowing it out of proportion. I don't know how, but I could definitely
Polygon.
I could see people getting mad too, because people are just stupid when it comes to stuff like this as well. Yeah. So I could see a person getting angry and complaining about it because they complained about Tracer's butt being visible. You know, we've seen
my god, I remember that.
We've seen so much stupid stuff about because this game is so popular. It's hitting so many people's bubble of effect. It's just hitting a lot of people, and because it's so popular, there's more. The more people you have in the game, the harder it is to make changes to the game without pissing someone off. And we know we've seen that. We've seen that in other games. So.
Well, I'm pretty sure we spoke about it, but it's hard to make everyone happy. You cannot make everyone happy, because then if you try to make that small group happy, you're going to make everyone else unhappy. And if you just try to do that, then the game's going to come out much worse.
Yeah.
Well, gamers are notoriously unhappy people.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go ahead and read the next one. We have Destiny 2 loadouts are not locked in raids. Director confirms. Luke Smith, Destiny 2's games director, said Bungie wanted to avoid a situation where someone might quit a raid to equip a newly acquired weapon and then rejoin. Locking down players' loadouts is something that Destiny 1 never did. In any situation, players could modify their gear and weapons to best suit the activity they were playing. In Destiny 2, however, certain high-level activities will prevent you from changing your loadout and subclass. Smith previously talked about how Bungie's ambition to make some parts of Destiny 2 more difficult, and it seems like locking loadouts for some activities is part of that drive.
I like the idea, especially the part where it's going to be for certain activities and not for all of them, because I still want that option where, like, you're in the middle of something, you're like, oh, this scout rifle will be much better than the pulse rifle, and you just switch it out right then and there.
I think
that's what the app was for.
Yeah, I think it's...
Well, yeah, true.
I think maybe I could see it like on a heroic raid, like the hard versions of the raid where you can't respawn. I could see them locking loadouts on that, but maybe not in the normal raid. Because they always made the heroic raids harder.
Yeah,
they added
exactly.
challenges, so I could see this definitely being something that'd be a part of a heroic raid, because they said they're gonna have it. It just won't be in normal raids. It will be existent. So I could see they'll announce a heroic raid eventually once people start hitting the max light level, increase the light level again. We'll have a heroic raid where you could get more gear, and then on top of that,
lock your loadout.
Your loadouts are locked. So you have to do some really heavy pre-planning. Because another thing is now, this also prevents the thing I explained last week when we talked about this, is that when you first go into a raid, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So it's hard to plan.
my
It's hard
God,
to
yeah.
plan for a raid. But if they do it in heroic raids, everyone's already played the raid. They know what's required of them.
Exactly.
So now people can plan because they know what exists in the raids. Like at this boss, it's more effective to have a sniper than a rocket launcher. So we're gonna have one dude have a sniper, and then so the planning will be much more strategic and effective in a heroic version of the raid because everyone's had access to the raid already.
Right.
So you'd be able to plan, because if it was in the normal raids, you wouldn't be able to plan because you have no idea what the fuck's going on. No one would want to do the raid because they'd get locked to their loadout. And then, like he was saying, people can just leave, switch the weapon, and rejoin. So
Right.
definitely interesting stuff. Super excited for Destiny 2. We got, what, a week? A little bit more than a week?
Yeah,
And it'll
about a
be
week.
here.
I gotta get that PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, you do. I will be picking up the game twice. So if you are listening to this podcast and you do plan up picking up Destiny 2 for the PC, I will be on there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, because I'm gonna enjoy it at its glorious 60 frames. So, and there's
They
also some people.
explained why they locked it at 30 for console.
They
users.
did.
explain that?
They explained it because the Xbox One X can run Destiny 2 at 60. The PlayStation, they said that it is possible to run Destiny 2 at 60 frames, but they want to keep everyone on the same standard when it comes to frames amongst all the consoles, because they're developing for the original PS4 and for Xbox One X at the same time. Excuse me. So the problem they're running into is in a first-person shooter, that difference of frames is major. The aiming is easier. It makes a huge difference. So they don't want anyone being at a particular advantage because they spent more money.
Yeah.
So they can't. It'd just be smarter to dumb down the graphics on the earlier thing. But the things that sell games are graphics. I know a lot of people complain about frames, but ultimately when it comes down to the average consumer, it's the graphics that end up selling the game. And as long as it's locked at 30, some people don't even give a shit. We played all of Destiny 1 and didn't care because it was locked at 30
I didn't
because they built the game around the previous generation of consoles. But from what I've heard about the PC port, is it is a fantastic port. They're not just taking the console version and moving it onto the computer. They've completely redone the game for PC, and they have huge optimization options and all this other stuff. So they're making a well-built PC port, and that's going to help them a lot because they already have like 1 million something pre-orders on PC alone. So they're definitely working on. They're definitely working on pleasing their PC community, and that's going to help them in the long run. Definitely, the worst thing they could have done was made a shitty PC port. So
Will it definitely help?
I don't know. Again, it depends on what they do going forward. But from what I've seen from the game, it looks exciting. The patrols look like they've been revamped.
I heard about that.
The areas are larger. There's more stuff to do. The only thing I'm hoping now is that they keep all of the game relevant for as long as they can, because I don't want it how it happened in Destiny 1 where new DLC would come out and now the rest of the game is irrelevant.
Oh, that was like
The worst. I hated that. So if they keep a way of updating the loot pools for the patrols so they keep the game entirely relevant somehow, I'd love something like that. But it all depends on what they do moving forward. I can see them hopefully learn from their past mistakes, because Destiny 1 was a shit show when it came to its initial release, and then it
became a good game.
It was a good game in the last 2 years of its life cycle, which isn't good.
It was a good game because of the people I played with. It was not a good game off of its own merits.
Well, that's another thing that they also touched on. They're saying that they want to keep that community
thriving.
Yeah,
because
thriving.
Destiny does have a strong community to it. That's people. If you just look on the fucking internet, you see a Destiny 2 game. You have people that fell out of Destiny 1 when its initial release and everyone got pissed off at it. You have the people that stayed and enjoyed year one for what it was. And then so you always have a war going on almost every Destiny 2 video of people saying this game is Destiny 1.5, it sucks ass, and then people defending it. It's a huge polarizing game because of its initial launch and what happened with the original Destiny.
Well, I joined Destiny 1
late
in year 2.
Yeah, same here. I enjoyed when Taken King came out.
Yeah, same.
That's when I joined.
Yeah.
So I had it when the game was most of the
Getting
game
better.
was somewhat like a realized concept, unlike the first year. When I've heard people said they enjoyed first year.
Well, yeah,
It depends on the person.
yeah.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't like the grinding in the game. A lot of people don't like loot based shooters, but that's just what Destiny is.
Oh, I love loot-based
if you're going
shooters.
into Destiny 2 expecting not to grind, then you don't buy the game because that's what it's going to be.
I love it.
It's a loot based shooter. I can't imagine a loot based shooter without a grind to it because they have to give you some sort of replayability, and that's how they do it. There's not really much else they can do because they can't. It's too expensive to just like create fuckloads of content for
And
like-
even still, you're gonna get those people that sit down and play through the whole game in like 2 or 3 days, and then what? They're done.
Well, it depends because even when you beat the campaign, you still have to get that max light level. They're probably going to keep the light system. I don't think they'll be revamping that, so I could see them staying with all the light
We
systems.
don't have light anymore.
What?
We don't have light.
No, but the
Yeah.
light system, like your guns are you. I'm sure you reattain the light
I'm sure.
within the campaign.
Yeah.
So there's something that you do. I'm excited to see the campaign too, because from what I saw from
Yeah,
the first
me
mission,
too.
it looks cinematic as fuck. Like that first mission was beautiful. It was really cool to see
Yeah.
like everyone helping you. You actually had the NPCs were actually on a mission. Like we didn't see that shit
Yeah.
at all in Destiny 1. Like they just like go do something and we fucked off while they sat in the tower and did nothing. But they're
Yeah.
actually like helping us and shit. So it'd be cool to run like a hunting mission with Cade on the
Oh, that'd be so cool.
on one of the areas. I saw a trailer that was talking about like another NPC you meet called Hawkthorn, and he's like in a church tower with a sniper, and it's like an adventure. That's what they're called, and you run missions with him, and he has his own like narrative experience that you go just through him and helping him set up stuff in the European Dead Zone because you're going through parts that are just completely decayed and you're fighting off enemies and doing stuff like that. So it seems like they're working on building more of the lore behind it because Destiny 1's lore was pathetic with how they built it. So
Yeah.
man, I mean, we could talk about Destiny all fucking day. So let's move
Yeah,
on
I
to the
know,
next
yeah.
article. I'm super excited for the game to come out. We're just waiting to see what they do. Again, I have faith in Bungie. I think they're a good developer. I think a lot of what happened to Destiny 1, they might have been rushed by Activision to put it out early.
Right.
We don't know what happened. A lot of that happens behind closed doors, so we can only speculate. But
Yeah.
let's move on to the next article. Antony, you want to read that for me?
Yeah. Nintendo Switch eShop makes it easier to buy games from Japan and elsewhere.
Yay.
Nintendo Switch owners now have a new way to pay for games on the eShop. According to Nintendo, everything, the Japanese Switch eShop now supports PayPal as a payment option, and the functionality has since arrived in other regions. The support for PayPal in Japan specifically is relevant to international Switch holders, thanks to the system being region-free, and it's easy to create a Japanese eShop account to purchase Japan only games. That's what?
Think of that like a comma.
Oh, okay. Japan
not
only
region
games.
locked anyway,
That's how you
so it
can
makes
grab the
sense.
recent Monster Hunter 20
No, it's it's like cross something.
It's cross X.
Yes, cross X.
Cross X demo. With PayPal support added, the process for purchasing Japanese games becomes even easier.
So you don't have to import games now, which is expensive.
That's cool.
I like that.
Yeah, so a lot of it you.
That's good for you because you have a Switch.
Yeah, so when Senran Kagura comes out when you grow up boobies, I'm
Yes.
getting- first day, baby, first day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, I think this is awesome because I think a lot of we've never seen a lot of games that come out of Japan, and it's such a shame because I hear there's a lot of gems out there. Like I'll make this quick, but there's a YouTube channel called Did You Know Gaming, and they have a show called Region Locked, and they talk about games that never made it to the West, and a lot of really cool stuff. And now this gives an opportunity for people around the world to play stuff that was only in Japan. And yeah, there might be a language barrier, but I mean, you could probably find a way to translate it or whatever, or just use by inferring what's going on. But I'm really excited about this, and I might try it myself because I think Japan has some fantastic games that they never released, which is a shame because I think they would do really well here. But this is a great step. This is a good move, Nintendo. Good GG.
Yeah, for real. And the whole language barrier thing, I think it's just as easy as just putting like a language like packet in there, like an English packet,
Yeah.
or just like something just have it as an option. Kind of like how like we can put, kind of like how you have to download the Japanese pack for Persona.
Yeah.
Kind of something like that. Just have it as an option.
Yeah, we'll see. They
Well,
hopefully
a lot
they
of games
support
are
it.
built with English in them anyway. They just don't release them over here.
Yeah, they
You'd be
do.
surprised how many of them have the.
Yeah, they do teach
go ahead.
English. So a lot of times menus will be because they think it's cool. So menus will be in English, or they'll have certain language things in English. Okay, moving on to the next article. These are two quick ones that we're just going to present to you guys. The HTC Vive price has dropped to $599, which is a $200 price drop for the HTC VR headset. The world remains drastically unimpressed. I think that's Shawn, because I didn't write that. But so the thing with VR, a lot of it is the barrier to entry is very high.
Yeah.
PlayStation tried to remedy this with the PSVR, but still, even then, it's still an expensive.
Yeah, it's
unit.
$400.
Yeah.
Plus whatever
Plus the
else you need,
camera and all
yeah.
the other stuff. But this HTC Vive set is $600 for everything, and it's a very fantastic, well put together.
Well, it's the best one out there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
all you need is a computer that can run it. And
games.
now that I have a PC that is VR capable, I'm definitely excited to see that VR is becoming more readily available, because I'd love to have a VR
Yeah.
set in the what we're gonna make into the studio.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That'd be
Oh,
fantastic.
that'd be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Yeah,
So
but
I'm. What are you gonna say?
oh, sorry. I was gonna say this is great, but I still say that the problem though with VR in general is that I still see it as a gimmick, and that until it nails like really big games and comes up with things that are, like a lot of these games are and these experiences are fantastic, but I just haven't seen anything that really is like, okay, I have to get a VR now. Like I have to drop all this money on this VR headset and I'm ready to go. So again, it's awesome, it's cool, and it's great that the price is a little bit more manageable, but that's still a pretty big, buy-in,
Yeah.
to do it. And like I said, this is technically
This is still early adopter.
first
Yeah.
wave of VR. So again, with this technology, I think I'm definitely going to wait, and I think a lot of other people are waiting. But it is exciting to see this become more of a reality, become more of it's no longer sci-fi. It's in the real world, and it's something that people can actually, purchase.
Yeah, and the only game that I see what you're saying about, like, oh, there's not any games out there yet that like
It
what
depends,
makes you want to
because-
get. Resident Evil 7 almost made me get it.
Yeah, that alone is a fantastic experience.
Yeah, that almost made me get the VR for
because
it.
it's a full game built
Yeah.
around it, and
The Psychonauts game is good.
yeah, and another thing is a lot of the things because there are fantastic experiences for the VR,
Batman.
but a lot of them don't come to PSVR.
Yeah, no, they don't.
the earlier adopter systems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fantastic indie games, even multiplayer like shooters that can be played VR. They have like social event things that you can do in the VR. They have, again, I see exactly where you're coming from with it being a gimmick, because there aren't like
AAA titles.
massive expansive games that can be run in VR or anything like that yet. But again,
Most of it's on Oculus. The Vive doesn't have a ton of support.
you said Vive.
The Vive.
It's Vive, my
Vive.
dude.
Whatever. It's fucking stupid.
Well, the Vive
Vive.
Vive can run everything. The Vive can even run Oculus games.
Did they patch it? Because it was
No,
having
it's-
issues.
There you go.
It's a program someone created where you basically, it's like if you run Windows and Mac, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Wow, I stand corrected then.
So on top of that, the final article we have is Destiny 2 on the PC will support HDR and SLI functions. Now, I don't know if Destiny would need SLI functions, because SLI is basically, it's like a bridge that connects your graphics cards together. So you could run two 1080s, and you could use the power of both 1080s to render a game, pretty much. That's what
Yeah.
SLI is. But I don't know if Destiny 2 would need SLI functions. I guess if you're... Maybe you could put like two 1070s and be able to run 4K and stuff like that. I don't know. Make things easier, get higher frames, so you could do like 4K gaming at like on a 144 hertz monitor with like, so you're pulling like 130, 140 frames. So if you want like the maximum experience, it's cool that they support SLI, and also HDR is cool too. But these are the PC port versions. It's not coming to console because console of course doesn't need SLI, but the HDR would be nice on console, especially with the PS4 Pro. But again, it's nice to see that they're not completely fucking over PC when it comes to the port. It's cool stuff. So it's exciting. stuff coming down the road, and that does wrap up our news. So we're gonna move on to our main I almost said optic. Our main topic,
What the?
which is the return of difficulty games or challenge games. So
And nipples.
and nipples, apparently, according to our document, which is the reigning king of what we talk about. Says nipples. So I'm gonna let Shawn start us off because it was his topic, so he gets to present the idea.
Well, I mean, and when you had in the 80s and 90s, you had a lot of games that prided themselves on being extraordinarily difficult, sometimes to the point of being brutal or punishing. And right around the time you had the rise of the autosave and the rise of the 6-hour, 4 to 6 hour game, and the 10, 40, even a 10-hour game, even the 40 plus hour game started to shrink and shrink and shrink and got easier and easier. And then I think maybe about 5 years ago, 5 to 10 years ago, when did Dark Souls come out?
11.
I could look.
I think 11 or
Right.
12.
Shortly before Dark Souls came out, indie developers started making super challenging games again. Mega Man 9, was it 8 and 9?
2009.
Drop.
Yeah,
Okay.
2009. Okay.
So around the end of the
Demon
2000s,
Souls.
you started to see
Demon Souls?
Yeah, that's the first
these
Oh,
extremely
okay.
difficult games come back that didn't allow auto saves or only allowed auto saves at specific junctures. All of a sudden, you had to start manually selecting saves again or restart levels. And the whole idea of earning your victory and really being challenged, and I'm not talking about work, I'm talking about legit challenge. Like, yeah, Dark Souls makes you want to kill people because it's so difficult and break shit. But when you actually defeat, the boss that you're fighting under your own merit, that's a fucking feeling. That's a good feeling. That game earns its money back, so to speak. So it's kind of looking at how the challenge games died off when technology expanded and how they came back and what people's stances are on that. And we're going to talk about stuff.
Yeah. So let's start it first. Let's look at some examples of challenge games over the years. We've already talked about Dark Souls, and then we'll talk about maybe why challenge games started initially. At least my idea on what the reason early games were so difficult. And
You and I have discussed it at length.
yeah, so first thing I want to bring up is challenge games haven't technically completely disappeared because we have seen they just have not been main market like they are currently with Dark Souls and other
Right.
games like that coming out. But we've had like early difficult games that you might have experienced as a kid. The early Mega Man series had difficulties.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah,
Golden Ghosts,
Yeah, I guess the goblins. Shoot.
They had
Ninja Gaiden.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
Ninja Gaiden. Some of the early Castlevanias were difficult. So they had difficulty for different reasons. Some of them were just difficult platformers, while others were like Simon's Quest was just difficult because they didn't fucking tell you how to do anything, and a lot of it you're figuring out on your own. But like even like as the years passed, we had Dark Souls. We had Dark Souls clones are starting to come up now. We had the how do you pronounce it?
Mario Maker.
Well, that's the community
Lord.
doing that. Like
Was it
damn it.
Titan Souls? That there's a lot of indie games. Titan
Yeah.
Souls is like that.
the
Yeah.
Mario Maker levels are called Kaizo levels. If you're
Yeah, Mario
interested on that.
Kaizo. That's right.
And they also had the Toho series,
Oh yeah.
which is
Yeah.
the bullet hells and stuff like that.
Yes.
And so my idea with why I think difficulty started in earlier games, why they made the game so hard, is okay. So we're thinking back then, 80s, 90s. These are older systems, first of all, right? So the one challenge when we're developing a game is that there's requirements for our system. There's only so much that we can do with what we have available to us, and we want our games to be played for a long amount of time. So light bulb goes off. Let's make our games difficult. So what happens is instead of playing the game in an afternoon and beating it because the games weren't necessarily super long,
Right.
we'll make our games very difficult, very vague. So then instead of we're basically padding for time through difficulty. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because Dark Souls does that. The Dark Souls
Right.
games, if they were easy, they wouldn't last as long. But then again, you'd lose a lot on the specific reasons for game design in Dark Souls, because if they weren't difficult, you'd lose the tension of battle, you'd lose all these other things that came along with that difficulty presented, and you'd have no fear. So it'd still be, the worlds are nice and the lore is nice, but it wouldn't be as fun of a game if there was no difficulty to the combat.
That's what makes a lot of the game.
Yeah, that's what everyone has.
Yeah, you tell someone, hey, I beat Dark Souls. Everyone was like, oh shit, man, he played through Dark Souls.
It's synonymous with difficulty because that's what.
Well, how big is your dick? That's insane.
Big enough.
Also, too, you gotta think. Back in the 80s and 90s, when arcades were huge, a lot of these companies made these games difficult. So one, they can make money, and
money.
Also too, the leaderboards, the scoreboards, seeing people's names on there wanted you to say, "Hey, I want to play this game." It's bragging rights, and to say that, "Hey, I got the highest score in," Pac-Man's not a hard game, but it can get difficult. Say you got a highest score in Pac-Man was pretty cool. And it was more of like, okay, I beat this really hard game. I'm the best at this difficult game. And it was more like a pride thing. You were like, hey, I did this and did that. And it was a time where game companies didn't know what they were doing with this new medium, and they had to find a way to get people to play them. And that was one of the things. Difficulty made it to where it was like, okay, we'll let them win a little bit, and then we'll let them fail completely. So, that's how difficulty started, back in the day.
A lot of it was to conform to memory limitations too, limits on how much sprites they could have, and level designs and lack of understanding of technology. But I think in the end, a large portion of it, like Ninja Gaiden and Ghosts and Goblins and things like that, those games were and it's not even the arcade game. If you just look at the home console versions of these games, they were designed when they brought them to the home consoles to be precision games. Same with Mega Man.
Yeah.
Just a hair's in the wrong direction and you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
So it was all about, being skilled and learning the layout of the levels and the patterns of enemies and so on and so forth. You were supposed to die shitloads before you beat it. And the fucked up part is the younger you are, the easier those types of games end up being. Now, I'm not talking about the three-dimensional ones with spatial physics, because things like Dark Souls and stuff are difficult on younger children because of understanding the placement of objects in reference to you and where you're taking your actions, combined with the numerous controls and referencing those controls with where your character is and they're facing and so on and so forth. It's a lot more challenging. And I noticed that when I brought my daughter into three-dimensional video games, the hardest part she had was adapting to the spatial physics, and it took her some time. And my kid's a genius, like a bona fide genius. But that part is just, it just waits until your brain fucking develops enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But the two-dimensional ones, when I was like, whenever the fucking games came out, I beat the shit out of Castlevania, Mega Man 1, 2, 3, and Ghosts and Goblins on the home console. And the only one I remember being hard was Ninja Gaiden was fucking brutal.
Yeah.
And,
I remember playing Ninja Gaiden on my little Game Boy.
Was criminal. It was I still to this day believe that game was created by Satan.
Yeah.
But Mega Man was not a problem for me. I mean, I died a lot.
Yeah.
But when I go back and play it now,
boy,
I found the reflexive memory that you have as a child. When you stop playing games like that, you learn a very specific tool set and skill set to compensate for certain types of challenges. When you stop those, your brain erases it as useless.
Yeah.
And then you have to relearn everything again. And as an adult, your brain isn't geared towards doing that. So it's 4 times harder to fucking play those type of games.
For sure.
I remember playing that Ninja Gaiden on
Game
Boy Advance.
So
no. Was it? Wait, no, it was DS. Was it DS? I think it was DS.
Sure, they've had them on the DS though.
But I remember picking it up and playing it for I don't know how long and trying to get past this one part, and I could not do it, and I eventually just gave up, and it's lost somewhere in my house, like in a drawer.
Yeah, dude, it makes you want to run around kicking babies in the face. Like,
yes.
Another thing too is in terms of difficulty is 3D platformers. I always thought weren't necessarily hard. It's just the mechanics of it made it difficult. For instance, I've been playing. I finished Jack and Daxter this week, and there were times when I got very frustrated because of you had to be very precise in certain moments, like especially when you're doing the vehicle levels. The vehicle levels were not hard. It's just a lot of it was just timing and muscle memory and being able to just hit the gaps or hit those jumps, and it got frustrating. It was very frustrating, and a lot of that can come with mechanics, but and a lot of it's like you can do these things, like you can finish these levels, you can make that jump, you can do that, but it's almost like your hand-eye coordination is off sometimes. Like you were saying, when you're older, it's so much harder to play these older games back in the day. And I think a lot of times difficulty itself can come from the mechanics, not just the design.
Mario 64. The biggest challenge in Mario 64 was that fucking slip and slide bullshit. Yeah. God, they fixed it a lot with the camera, being able to adjust the camera and shit on the 3DS version. Or was it the DS version was probably the best version of Mario 64 because you didn't have to deal with that Satan-possessed camera. Yeah. But I still, to this day, want to punch whoever fucking programmed that game in the face. When you go to make a jump, you stick that jump and watch his fat ass slide like 6 feet forward and right off the edge into the lava.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that's intentional. You got to plan for that sliding shit when you jump. And that's part of the challenge. As much as I fucking hate his fat, slippery butterball, it's, in the end, it's part of the game. And sometimes that shit saves you. You'll slide right past an enemy or underneath a thwomp or what the fuck ever,
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing is when it came to such as, I was thinking about it and I lost it because I was trying to talk. When we were younger and we're playing these games, a lot of the time there's this sense of like pure unfiltered joy because we're playing a game, and as a kid you're limited. As a kid you're like when I was younger, going through middle school, high school, before I had a job, it was I get a game a year, and they ended up being like a Halo or Call of Duty, and that's all I had to play. So every time I got a game, I was fucking ecstatic because it's like a new game. But when you're a kid, especially even sometimes like when Blockbuster was big, you could kind of swap between games, but even then you had to have a parent take you. It wasn't a simple process. Us now being older, it's simple for us to just put down a game entirely. You have to work for that victory, and we could easily swap to something else without even batting an eyelash. But when we were younger, these games, we were dedicated to whatever we had gotten for Christmas or our birthday or whatever. So you sat, no matter how hard that game was, you're like, I'm fucking finishing this because I have nothing else to do if I don't beat this. So a lot of the times the frustration that you had as a kid was not the thing you remember because it was long ago, and you put that out of your mind the moment you got the game because you're like, yeah, I got a new fucking game to play. If a new Mega Man came in or something and you got Mario 64 and you're looking at this beautiful polygon man, Italian man looking at you, and you're like, this is fucking awesome. You don't care about sliding off because you're just so ecstatic to be playing the game. So the memories that you have of these past games, that's the same thing. When we come back to these games, we don't remember them being hard. Like, perfect example, you look at the Crash Bandicoot games. When they made the re-releases of them, everyone's social media, everything, they're like, oh, dude, Crash Bandicoot. I don't remember Crash Bandicoot being Dark Souls, and there's like this Dark Souls meme for Crash Bandicoot going around and stuff like that. But like that's just how the games were. And I heard that they didn't change was it that they didn't change the jumping for the first game? They just redid the.
Well, they changed his. I think how weighty
like
he feels.
His arc or something like that too.
Yeah, his arc is, I think, higher. Maybe I think it's higher, and he's also light. He's a little bit lighter from Heard. He's not as.
Yeah,
but
these
more balancing than anything else.
Yeah, these games were stuff that we adored as kids, and we didn't care. What the hell? we didn't care what was happening to us because we were just ecstatic to play a new game. So a lot of that difficulty, like if you go back, like I recently, it was a while ago, but I went back to play like the Contra games. The Contra games were hard too.
Holy shit! I remember Contra being easy until I picked it up again, like 3 months ago. Super Nintendo Contra. So it's Super C, right? I remember breezing through that game, and I was like, I thought everybody said Contra was hard. Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. They're effectively bullet hells in their own because you have all the shit you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Why do you think they had an infamous code to give you what was it infinite lives or just a shit?
It's 30 lives. It was 30 lives.
Okay.
Another thing too.
Which Konami game you're playing too?
Yeah. Another thing too about difficulty is in regards to RPGs is grinding. That was one of the things that I thought was just it's not necessarily grinding is difficult. It's monotonous.
It's a padding. And they're padding for time.
And the reason why is because some of these boss fights were kind of brutal. They were kind of crazy. I remember when I first played Pokemon back in the day, Red. It took me attempt after attempt to beat some of those gyms because I didn't understand. I didn't know about type advantages and stuff like that, and that was difficult for me back then. Nowadays, it's super easy. I mean, it's one of the easiest games you can play. It's more of a breeze. But RPGs definitely their difficulty is in the boss fights and the grinding. I think because it takes so much time to get to that level. You finally beat it. Get to the new area, and now it's ramped up, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's just the endless vicious cycle of having to grind, beat that, and then keep going. So in terms of difficulty,
understanding the strategy,
for sure,
how to use your characters.
I feel like when it comes to like how you're saying Pokemon, again, I feel you exactly. Like I was a stupid ass kid when I played that game originally. I'm like, because I remember watching the anime. I didn't jump into Pokemon right away when I was younger, but we did have it on the Game Boy. I had Red and Blue. I just didn't. It was later. It wasn't when the game came out or anything like that. Because didn't Pokemon come to the U.S. in '96? The original Pokemon.
Yeah, '96.
That was the year I was fucking born. So we didn't get into Pokemon till a little bit later. Yeah. So I finally get into it. The anime's been on TV and stuff. I'm like, dude, I'm Ash. I'm going to take my Pikachu all the way to the Elite Four. So all I did was level up this fucking shitty Pikachu. And it was like such a trap. Like I get,
It's a trap.
We'll do it, Pikachu, with the power of friendship. And then he gets one shot by a gym leader. I'm like, Pikachu, the fuck, dude? What are you doing? Aren't you supposed to get back up or something? And every time, and it always failed. And then we'd come back to it later. And now, again, playing it now, people complain about it being easy. But it's always been that. It's Pokemon. If you go back and play Red, like you were saying, if you go back and play Red, it's a breeze. But
and real quick,
breeze.
I just thought of something with Pokemon is the Nuzlocke challenge. I don't know if you've ever done a Nuzlocke challenge, but that is something in difficulty where I think it makes it a better game. It makes it more of a challenge to you because Nuzlocks are. I've watched so many Nuzlocks, and anyone who doesn't know, it's basically where you play like normal Pokemon, and you when a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead. You can no longer use it for the rest of the game. You either have to release it or put it in a box in the PC. And then, of course, you can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in every new area. So what that does is that it makes you play with Pokemon you would never thought to use. And then there's some other difficulty stuff you can do. Like some of them are like you can only have like a certain gender. You can only have a certain typing. But that right there shows you where difficulty is fun and makes an easy game a more challenging and more rewarding game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've done the Nuzlocks too, and I think also, I don't know if this is just the way the person explained it to me that I've done it, is when you catch that new Pokemon, it has to go in your party. So every time you get an area. But I've also done the Nuzlocks with randomizers, so every Pokemon is randomized in the game. I find those are really fun to do, especially with the randomizer, because your initial starters can be 2 legendaries and a fucking Doof or whatever.
But then they're
Nice.
like level 5, so you have to like level
so you have to
them
be
up.
careful because they could die instantly. So
Yeah, and that's like I said, that's where difficulty is fun. That's where it makes it. Okay, now I want to play this game. I want to invest my time in this game. It's not like we're Dark Souls where it's fun, but it hits you from left and right with all this difficulty. It's more like it's like almost a drudge. Now you feel accomplished when you beat a boss or you get through an area, and I think that's where difficulty. There's different types of difficulty. There is your difficulty that wants me to rage quit and throw stuff through a window, and then you have the difficulty where it's like, man, I want to come back to this. I want to keep coming at it because it's engaging, it's fun. So, in terms of that, that's how I see it. That type of difficulty with Nuzlocke, that's what I want to come back to. Dark Souls, I feel, is more. It depends on who you are. To me, I have to take a break from it for a while, or I will just rage quit.
that's Jonathan for you. Yeah, I
rage quit the shit out of Ninja Gaiden 3 when I was little. That was one of the ones where there was
Yes.
no like because I think the other Ninja Gaidens were harder technically in terms of controls and whatnot than 3, but the other Ninja Gaidens had unlimited respawns at the beginning of the level. And as a kid, you can deal with that. It's frustrating, it's infuriating, but you're like, fuck it. It's only 11 more feet to the right. I can do this. But when they give you 3 lives and then start the whole fucking game over,
yeah.
was just not doing that, dude. I can't. It took me like 11 years to beat the 3rd game because I just would fury out and break controllers. It was me. I was not friends with that game.
I like the tension that those types of difficulty build, like especially. Even Dark Souls isn't too bad about it, but like we talked about Hellblade, although I don't think they fully utilize it, but we talked about Hellblade a bit earlier, and how you had like a rot that builds up your arm, and if you die too many times, if it gets to your brain, you lose all of your progress. I love the tension that mechanic puts in the game, and again, I think that. Not every developer is going to do it, but I think that difficulty should always be built upon in most games because I feel like it'd be nicer to adhere to. Some games just aren't fucking difficult. I think Persona did a good job of doing it, although the only thing it's doing is changing values like damage and health values. But I like the fact that I could talk to someone that's played Persona on easy. They enjoyed the story. They've already beaten the game or something like that, and I'm still here trudging through I've already beat the game, but I'm still it's just an example. I'm still here trudging through the 5th or 6th dungeon because every half an hour I just get one shot randomly because I'm playing on the harder difficulty and I wasn't paying attention. And I'd love that especially in Persona because the saves are far and few in between depending on the dungeon that you're in. So you could straight up lose. I've had multiple times where I lost an hour to an hour and 15-minute times. Because like there's one run of the game where you're past the final dungeon, you're going, and you have a save at the start of the area and a save right before the boss fight. So you have to trudge through if you're fighting everything, through about 60 to 70 minutes of combat. I was on the final like gatekeeper to get to the last boss, and I died at him. And I'm like, man, I'm like, how long has it been since I saved? And then I spawn at the start of the area, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And
motherfucker.
Yeah. And
anybody who plays old school RPGs like that learns the save every 5 seconds rule.
Yeah. That's like with Sonic Mania is now there's like 12 zones and each zone has 2 acts, and usually each act has like the first act has a mini boss and then the big boss. And if you die anywhere in that zone, like if you're the boss fight and you die and lose all of your lives, you go back to the very first act of that zone. And there is a save function, but it only saves after you beat a boss. And then you can go to the next one. So it's not you have to start the whole game over. So that was something too with difficulty is that like, we now have these games now, these indie games, these new games where they're going back to the old school way of like, hey, when you die, you have to start over pretty far back. So, and I think, and that right there to me is what gives it replayability. You want to go back to it and try to beat it. I think that's what a lot of times these newer games are like, where you finish it and you're done. Back in the day, like you were saying, when you were a kid, you're like, that's all you had, and you want to go back to it and keep going and keep pushing forward. the whole point of the challenge is so that you would go to the end, finish it, go to the very end of it and say, hey, I accomplished this. I had a lot of challenges on the way. And I think that's what difficulty does. It wants you to keep going. It keeps you there for the challenge.
Now the question is why did we have a period? Because for a very long time, for a good chunk of like the late 90s, for at least about 10 years, you saw the highly difficult games take a severe backseat. It was rare for them to come out. Once the autosave thing kicked in, you really saw them disappear for the better part of a decade.
I want to say.
So, what is your theory as to why? I mean, because I read articles, man, in Game Informer and Game Pro and all these gaming magazines that I used to read avidly in the late 90s to mid 2000s, where it was constant. It's like the gamers want 6 to 10 hour games. Gamers want easy games. Gamers don't want difficult games anymore. And it used to infuriate me because I hate easy games. So what are your theories on why that came to pass?
My two thoughts when it comes to this is there's obviously a shift because we saw the effect of that. But I want to say there's kind of two major things, at least that I think are what caused the changes, especially in the player base or in general, because I don't think everyone wanted easy games. They just started to make easy games. Now, on top of that, I think we have two shifts. We have normally when early games came out, these games or these systems were marketed as toys. They're marketed to children, and it was a toy industry. They're like the new toy came out, blah blah blah, in the earlier games. As these things became more popular, video games started to fall on more people's ears, and the word spread around like, oh, this is pretty fucking cool. It started to shift from a toy to entertainment, and with that, I think also it brought in more people. So now we have a larger player base. The games have shifted from toys to entertainment. So the games that are being created, also on top of that, we're moving from systems that were restricted to stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger systems. And as that, a huge focus that is usually on people's minds when it comes to games is graphics. Like a lot of time people will, today, a lot of time people will buy things that look worse purposely because of the nostalgic effect. But a lot of times when games were developing and getting better, it was graphics. Like the new, better, prettier game has come out, or this game looks awesome. And then when we shifted from sprites to 3D models, and as all that started, and we started to allow for more shapes on screen at a time, and just systems became stronger and stronger and stronger, it moved into entertainment. And then we had the ability to build these better games. So I think there was a shift in focus from gameplay to production value as well, because it was a shift of focus from toys to entertainment. And again, as it expanded, we had more people coming in as well. And I think with the more people that were brought into the gaming market, you just had different values, like different opinions from people and stuff like that. And that's kind of my thought, at least at how it started. I don't think that was the whole cause of it, because again, people did have an outcry for easier games.
It did make sense.
Kind of dropped after the 80s. Like looking at video games as toys was Nintendo's contribution, and that faded away with the advent of PlayStation and Saturn, and then the CD-based consoles were seen as more mature consoles. And that's also when you started seeing more of the Mortal Kombat legacy come to fruition with gorier games and more mature themed games and so on and so forth. But I think I'd be inclined to agree with you on that. Yeah, the culture was definitely changing. I'm just curious. I don't. Most of the gamer. I think that was the advent of the casual gamer. I think that was when you had casual gamers and you had hardcore gamers, and we were all just one smashed together group. And the casual gamers kind of they didn't have any casual games out there, so I guess maybe. And this is just a spot, I'm just spitballing here. I just thought of this, but considering there was nothing for casual gamers, if they wanted to do any kind of gaming, they had to buy the same shit we were buying. So it might have been a way to appease as many people as possible. And if I recall, and this might just be, glasses, shit tinted glasses, not rose tinted glasses, but I seem to remember a lot of the reviewing community being particularly harsh on titles in the 2000s, saying that there had been a decline in game quality, like they had gone past the rough 3D elements of like the early PlayStation Saturn days and the 64 days and things, where it was more style over substance, I think, is what a lot of things were falling victim to.
And I think too, with the mobile market, the mobile market kind of, I think, sort of gave way to the whole difficulty downfall. Like, you see a lot of mobile games are super easy and they were for profit. And I think that's where difficulty kind of went away, is when you had early 2000s, you saw that games were very profitable. And you were like, well, how can we make these games to where these kids are going to play them, and these kids are going to, play them over and over, make them semi difficult, but not too bad, and just put a bunch of junk in it and just make it super inflated and give it, all this, style and panache. And I think that's what happened, is that you had, like you said, casual gaming made difficulty go away for the sake of profit. And because of that, a lot of games, suffered from it. All of the shovelware, a lot of the stuff that's super simple, but it makes a buck. Now you're seeing a resurgence of, let's take our time, let's make a game difficult but fair, and get your money's worth. Of course, now too, you're seeing a renaissance of that for profit thing with these microtransactions and these paywalls and stuff. So I think difficulty has gone from, okay, let's get them in, let's give them a challenge, get them hooked, and stay that and ride that, to, okay, games are too difficult, let's make them easier to make money, then it's come back. So there's been a roller coaster for difficulty over the years.
I would agree with that, except for the mobile gaming part. Mobile gaming really didn't pick up in terms of velocity or popularity until, I think, after the late 2000s.
Right.
By then, you had already seen challenging games come back. It's interesting how they came back too, because you can see distinct, with all the there isn't anything in the Dark Souls or Neo or any of those challenging games, or Titan Souls or any of that stuff, that doesn't immediately echo all the precision shit from Ghosts and Goblins and Ninja Gaiden and stuff like that. But and then the deep strategy you've got in in role-playing games and whatnot. But what other games have you guys seen the quality of difficulty come up in, besides those obvious ones?
I'd say, again, mainstream gaming, a lot of it fell down to a casual level because it became so big. Gaming is so big now, even at the point where it makes more money than most movies do. And we see that with so many people in it, there's always a hardcore audience to everything. Every hobby has a hardcore audience. Every hobby has a casual audience. But in our gaming community, a lot of the people that play games, or a lot of the money that comes from the gaming community is from casual gamers. So when you look at some of the biggest selling games, you got the first-person shooters, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Overwatch, and these are all very simple games that the replayability is all focused on multiplayer-oriented combat. So a lot of the time, they're building for the casual player. And then you have markets that work towards building for the hardcore audience, such as indie games, or it depends on the company, obviously, because From Software just came out of nowhere with Demon's Souls and just threw everyone for a loop, and then made everyone fall in love with this difficulty or these challenge games right off the bat. Everyone loved these games because it's been such a far time separated from something that's truly designed around difficulty, and they had a huge production value to them. They were super well built. The world that they were connected to was fantastic. The music was fantastic. The graphics for the time was very good. It just was a pretty game, very pretty, and it was some of the a lot of people regarded as some of the better games that existed on the PS3 was Demon's Souls and stuff like that. And then again, a lot of time when it first came out, it wasn't big. A lot of the big came to it when Dark Souls came out, and then they just again threw everyone for a loop because it was such like a complete 180 return to it because they were adhering to the hardcore gamer. If you go and talk to someone and ask them, "Do you play games?" and they'll be like, "Yeah." A huge person, if it's just a random person on the street, say you're conducting a survey, a huge percentage of the people that you're going to find either play mobile games or games casually. Like, oh yeah, I have Call of Duty, or I play like sports games, or I play card games. Like the
Plants vs. Zombies.
Our community, or the people, all of us here are hardcore gamers. We're more. It sounds so stupid to say it that way, but we're more into the hobby than most people. And
we enjoy difficulty.
Yeah, well, I
enjoy it.
Even then. Even if you're a hardcore gamer or you like different genres, you don't necessarily have to enjoy difficulty. It's just with it being so big, gaming as a whole, they adhere to the majority. And at this point, it's the casual gamer. Because a lot of times, the age range of gaming is from teens to early to late 20s and 30s and 40s. And a lot of the older generation, a huge percentage of gamers are teens to early 20s because they have more time to play games, they have more money to spend on games, whereas the older population has they have shit to do. They have responsibilities. They have to spend money on other things that aren't games. So even if the hardcore audience is the older audience, they're not pumping as much money into the market. Again, it depends. These are all generalizations. This whole thing is a generalization.
And situational.
Because it's the best way to explain this without going, oh, but then this dude can do this, but this dude can do this. We don't want to sit here.
They're not in the majority.
Yeah, we don't want to sit here and do this. We're referring mostly on like a statistical majority basis, and a huge percentage of gamers are younger and more casual. They're all about the Call of Duties or the first-person shooters and games where if you look at Call of Duty, they fucking copy and pasted the same engine 15 times, and they still make a shitload of money every time they release a new game because the formula they have applies to a casual gamer, especially if they like first-person shooters. Easy to jump in and jump out of multiplayer, so you could easily jump in and jump out of it. Progression systems, lots of replayability, and it's competitive. So again, I think it's because a majority of us, and I sound like a broken record here, but a majority of us as gamers are casual, younger generation people that enjoy just a casual experience more than something like Dark Souls. Even though Dark Souls is super popular, it all depends on where the shift of the market goes, where the money is flowing. And right now it's flowing to Call of Duty, Battlefield. Some of the top selling games every year are those FPSs.
Yeah, definitely.
At least that's what I think about it.
Yeah.
So, we have anything else to say?
I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean, I like what you said that like the shift in the games being made did have to do something with like just something that happened over time. Like at one point, the difficult games were like popular, then they died out, then they came back because they were something popular in the past.
I also think that when it comes to this conversation, you out there listening, feel free to communicate with us if you want to talk to us about this.
Yes.
Either leave a comment on the YouTube video, come join our Discord to talk to us. And I think before we end the conversation real quick, let's go around the table. What is your guys' like biggest rage moment when it came to playing a game? Something that like you did that was above and beyond, like you've turned into like a completely different person and raged out super hard and did something completely stupid. Do you guys got anything? What about you, Anthony?
Oh yeah,
I know Anthony. I wish Jonathan was here.
My
we could
God.
hear his stories of rape and pillage.
Yes. I think there's two. I think one of them was due to Call of Duty.
Oh, yep.
Well, a few of them, because I think I've went through like 3 controllers because of it.
Oh, jeez.
And Oh God, it's so
Accurate.
Infuriating.
frustrating and infuriating.
There's an R in
the
there, Antony.
Infuriating?
No, you said frustrating.
Oh, I said frustrating.
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 It's frustrating just trying to like remember. I don't even want to remember. And I think the other one, I forgot what game I was playing honestly, and it was on the PC.
League of Legends.
Yes, it was.
I know
Link.
it.
It was Link.
Stop screaming, please.
God,
I'm sorry.
I don't remember what happened, but I know it pissed me off, and I ended up punching a hole in the wall. And there's a hole right next to the
Your desk.
well, not the desk, but by the. No, I threw something.
Okay.
I threw something and it hit the
Story's unfolding.
what do you call it? The lights? The
The light switch.
area underneath the light switch. It was
Okay.
hollow, and I guess what I threw, I'm pretty sure it was my mouse.
Oh, okay.
But
Did you just do whipping it like a mace with a ball on the end of it, slamming into the fucking
it was a
wall?
wireless mouse. That's the only reason
Oh,
why
okay.
I got that far.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I remember throwing that mouse.
Yeah.
And
That must have been
So you're that
making a hole in the wall.
you're that type of person that breaks shit when they get mad.
Oh,
That's me. You know
I
why?
throw stuff.
You know
I
why? Oh my
go
god.
berserk.
Kyle and I.
What game was it?
When I don't know, when we
You
were
broke
kids.
my GameCube
yeah, when we were
controller, you
kids,
ass.
we would play GameCube like all the time together. And I don't remember what game. We had two controllers.
It had to be Smash.
We had two controllers, and there was one really cool one that would like light up, but it was hollow, and there was
Yeah, it's a
and it had like
third-party
it was like a
controller.
shitty plastic, and then we had another controller that was really nice that he used, so I used like the hollow one, and I think it was Smash.
It was either Smash or Mario Golf.
No, it was not. I would not get so mad over golf. But we were playing. I'm pretty sure it was Smash. We were playing Smash, and I got so pissed off that I threw the controller on the ground.
You straight up. She was holding one end of it. Like everyone knows the GameCube controller had the two handles on each side. She was holding one end of the GameCube controller, and she's like smashed it like a hammer into the fucking tile and just shattered the left grip on the
I
other
still,
side.
and you know, we still have the GameCube and it still works, and that's the only good controller we have.
Yeah, that's the
is
only
one- and
controller
it's
we have
missing a
that
handle.
still works. Is
Are
the
you
one
good?
with the grip missing.
Like, I am not a big fan of like games that are challenging. Like I know we talked about the game Polytopia before on this, and I play it on the easy mode just so I can win.
I play that shit on hard, and it is the most infuriating thing ever because the NPCs are 10 moves ahead of you, and before you can get any resources, they are literally all around
game
you
is
about
this?
to gang
I
rape
know,
you.
It's like
I know, I know.
it's like a mobile Civ game kind of. You build up troops,
See,
RTS.
like I get mad at life as it is. I don't want to play a game and get mad. So like when I started Uncharted and Kyle's like watching me, and we were on the difficulty screen, and he's like just play moderate. It's not that bad. And I'm like
I'm like,
no.
that's the way you're supposed to play the game.
And then I just click easy instead.
Like kids.
It's like, that's not how you play a
No,
game.
I play it for enjoying. I like because
oh my god.
like for Uncharted, I play it for the story. I'm not gonna sit there and play it for the combat. Do you play Uncharted for combat or
No,
anything?
not
No,
really.
Not really.
So if I'm gonna play a game like that, I don't want to be frustrated with the combat or anything. It's the same
Frustrated?
thing. I said frustrated. It's the same thing with like Persona. Persona, I picked the easy mode because I don't want to sit there and get so pissed off at the game that I want to drop it.
Yeah.
So I sit there and I play it on easy mode. And Kyle always makes fun of me, but I finish the game faster and I enjoy it more. Okay.
I think I'm just a masochistic person at heart because I
No, it's
love.
probably what it is.
Masochistic.
Yeah, 'cause
I love doing that.
That's probably what it is.
I love.
Setting that shit on
That was
high.
the word we argued about, Sean. Masochistic. I
Oh,
think.
wait.
No,
It's
that wasn't
masochistic.
it. It was a different one.
Masochist. That doesn't.
No,
that
it was.
sounds
Was it
stupid.
misogyny? I don't
You're
know.
stupid. All right.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't. It was. Yeah, I think. Yeah, it was something like misogyny. I used misogyny as the example
Oh,
to prove
okay.
my pronunciation point, but I don't remember the word.
What's the doctor that looks at vaginas?
Gynecologist.
Gynecologist. Was it that? I don't know why that comes to mind.
I
think
should know.
All right.
Yeah, I think
Might have been.
I'm more of a person that doesn't get mad playing games because I'm somewhat competent.
Call of Duty.
but I get mad when I watch people.
Oh, you hear
play
that guy
games.
gently stroke his own ego because I'm somewhat competent.
Nah,
No,
listen.
I always get pissed off. I'll sit there and be like, son of a bitch, fucking hell.
I've
I'll
played
be like,
through-
I get so
But
mad.
I've played through most of the Dark Souls, and what we do is that we go through them first by ourselves, and then me, Jonathan, and if we're playing with anybody else, we'll just play together for the rest of the playthroughs. But I get mad watching people, especially when I've played through it already. Like watching people fail at a game. That's what I love. Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking love the Game Grumps. Like, I have a huge hard-on for them, but when I watch them play certain games, they are not the best when it comes to playing video games. So I'm sitting there watching them play games, and it infuriates me to no end when I know what they have to do, but they're just simply not doing it, and they can't.
That's why I
figure
can't
out.
watch Cry anymore.
Oh my!
You watch Cry?
At least the Game Grumps are funny, but
Wait,
I
you
love
watch Cry? Oh my
but
God.
he is so bad at
Oh
games.
my God.
Him
I watched
and
him play
PewDiePie's
the
old streams. Holy
Who's
shit!
talking?
You're just screaming, "Burn left, you dumb cock!"
I used to watch Cry play. Like he just plays Telltale games now, but I used to watch him play like that.
He
that,
still streams.
that game with the girl with the red like coat.
You're way too far away.
The game with like the girl with the red
The
like
horror game.
no. It's like a really pretty
Was it
game.
a side scrolling?
Yeah, it was like a side scroller, and it looked really pretty.
Did you use a leaf to attack?
I don't know. I don't
Oh,
remember.
because that's Mama Dora. That's a good game.
I
That's an
I
haven't
don't
actual
know, but he
game, yeah.
played that
Yeah.
game, and I couldn't watch him play it because he was so bad at it.
Girl with the right. It was pretty.
Yeah, it looked really pretty.
was side-scrolling?
PewDiePie played it.
Most of the
Everyone
games
can-
Cry plays are ugly. I mean, not ugly, but they're old. They're retro.
Yeah, I watched him
Yeah,
play
he
the
does a
first
lot
year.
of RPG Maker
Wait, didn't
games.
he play the Call of Cthulhu?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Do you know
remember.
that?
I remember he
Do
played
you
the
worship
first.
Y-
Cthulhu?
yeah.
He played the first near. He offers his panties to Cthulhu.
Yes.
He's like,
This is why it's taking so long.
Cthulhu's being a bitch, man. I'm not trying
He's
to.
being picky. Beggars can't be choosers, Cthulhu.
Only the panties of virgins. God damn it! All right, what about? Yeah, so I'm more of a person that gets angry watching people play. I've never had some. I don't break things when I get angry because I'm like, shit, I bought that. So I usually avoid that. But I can attribute multiple of the gray hair sitting on my head to Call of Duty. I was playing Call of Duty in high school, middle school. That game, I'd had moments where I'd just get super mad. I don't think I'd ever stop playing, but that's bad because I continue to play and just get even more and more frustrated. Because if you're mad, you start to suck. But yeah, I just curse and stuff. I don't really break anything. I've never broken anything being mad.
No, I'll like clench my fist. like I'm
It's like the
triggered.
anime thing. that Arthur meme. That Arthur meme clencher fist. God damn it.
No, that's me every time I get mad. And if the controller's in my head, I just gotta take my hand off and then clench my fist.
I gotta
I do
be,
that all the time.
I gotta be careful because I just got a glass table, so like I can't slam anything
No.
down. I gotta remember, just like back away from the table and like slam my fist on like a pillow or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really
What
bad
about
about, like,
what about you, Shawn?
rage quit.
You got a rage story for us? Besides just
I have
abandoning a
multiple
game.
ones. I'm trying to remember the toughest
Yo,
ones.
I did that with Horizon. I just abandoned that game because I got so mad at it.
Horizon wasn't even that hard.
No, but with Horizon, they have that stupid armor.
Oh yeah, she
And I
was
was
mad
like,
because she.
I was. Let me explain,
Oh,
please.
I'm sorry.
I was like, in
here. I'll be over here now, guys.
in Horizon, you have to like collect pieces throughout the game to like have this certain armor. And I was halfway through the game when I found out about it. And for the first piece of armor, it's all the way in the beginning of the game when you start in this town, and you can't go back into that town. And that made me so mad. I was like,
Time to start over.
I remember.
I almost started over. And I got so mad because I was like, why would they make it like this if you don't? Because you don't. There's not like quest line for it or anything. You just have to figure it out or like Google it or something. So I didn't know that, and I got so. I just dropped Horizon and I started playing Persona.
But you haven't finished either. Why are you not done with Persona, Kel?
What?
Why are you not done with Persona?
She doesn't want it to end.
Again,
bullshit.
I can't finish.
I can't say
games,
much because
sorry.
I've yet to platinum it, but I've already beat it once.
Well, I'm like right there. There's
You
only
have
like
like
one more.
another like 10 hours, I think.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I'm gonna finish Uncharted because I was doing Uncharted, and then
Okay.
I'll finish Persona.
I'm holding
If
that
I
to
even
you.
finish
This
Uncharted.
is on.
We have it on record.
This
we
is
have it.
recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah,
recorded.
It will be
There
on
we
the
go.
internet, so someone can find you.
Yeah, I
and
have a
hold you
problem
to
with
it.
finishing games. It's really
Yeah,
hard
I
for
could
me.
tell.
Shut up, right? Fuck off.
Oh my god.
Damn.
All right, Shawn, do you got your
Savage.
story for us?
Fuck yes, I remember now.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Lay it on us.
Goddamn Battletoads.
What
Holy
the-
shit, that game, dude! You don't understand. Like the bewildered look. My best friend had just come over, and I remember I just gotten past the wrecking ball stage, and I think we were on the bike level, and I spent like 4 hours trying to fucking do that stupid bike level, and I got all the way to the end, and then you have this long patch where there's nothing, and then they don't warn you that a wall's coming, and it's like the last fucking thing, and it was my last life, and the game just fucking wipes you on your last life. And I remember, like, this was probably my first cursing fit in front of my parents. I was like, I don't know, fucking 10, 12, 14, some shit like that. And like it happened. And like there were tears of rage. Like I took the Nintendo controller and I was pounding into the carpet so hard there was a bare spot in the carpet by the time I was fucking done. And my mom was sitting there looking at me like I had summoned Satan and the world was going to end. Like she was bleached white. My friend's she was opening the door to let my friend in, and he's shitting himself with terror. And I'm just like, motherfucking God, I hate you. I hate your family. I hope you all die. I hope your friends die. I hope all of your friends die. God damn you and your infants. I was screaming, and then I get up, stomped out, bolted past her, bolted past my friend, walked away from the house all the way down to the park, sat down on the swing, and didn't come back for 2 hours. I remember
what game was this?
Clear now.
Battletoads.
I was so fucking
Battletoads?
mad. I wouldn't look at Battletoads for like 3 years.
What is Battletoads?
I was fucking done. I was done.
I can still hear the anger. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I am still angry at that game. That game
What the hell?
is
Is it a platforming
Shawn is a new
pure
man.
evil.
See, that's where you went wrong. It's a platforming game, isn't it?
All right, what about you, Sam? You got a particular raid story for us?
I wouldn't say it's rage. It was more every time my sister and brother-in-law we play Mario Party.
Look at those
It is like just oh my gosh! You want to talk about screwing each other over? It is just like oh my gosh! What makes it even more frustrating is that my brother-in-law gets so freaking lucky, and me and my sister are both just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like we both groan, like we were groaning the whole time. We almost throw our controller sometimes because of the luck he has. That's the only time I've really shown like a lot of like emotion around other people. I will say during this week I had a few, I wouldn't say outbursts, but definitely like frustrating moments where I was like, I can't. I mean, I'm playing Jack and Daxter. I would just like kind of say something, and then sometimes I know my sister will be upstairs. She'll hear me and she'll say, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I'm fine. Don't worry." But yeah, definitely when I'm playing multiplayer games, like there's so much rage. You know what? I just remembered playing Smash Brothers, playing Brawl, and someone had stupid Meta Knight and Marth. Oh my gosh, those two characters I hate playing against in Brawl. Because Meta Knight has his little swishing sword move, and there's no way to counter it. Like, there's no way. And I was just so frustrated.
Professional name for it?
So
That's why he
freaking
gets banned,
mad.
right?
I almost threw my
he's
controller
banned
down.
in
He
I was
is
so
the
mad.
worst character. And you know who Antony plays? Meta Knight. All the time.
No, that's not me.
And
Antony?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. That is
No,
you.
that's Ike.
and then Kirby.
My main's Ike.
Who used to play that character?
Antonio.
And then our cousin.
Let him finish
I'm
talking.
Sorry. I'm so
Finish
sorry.
talking.
You're
Man.
triggering me. You're
And
triggering me.
then in that same match, you had that one person who was Kirby, and he kept doing down B, fly up, down B.
And that's our cousin.
then you had
That's our
someone who-
cousin.
And then they had it was Marth, Pikachu, Kirby, and Meta Knight. The Pikachu person kept doing up B, stupid thunder move
my fucking
constantly.
God.
I was like, am I playing this? Am I in the Twilight Zone right now? Am I playing?
Excuse me, it's Quick Attack.
Oh my god! Oh, sorry, down B. My bad.
shut up.
See, that's
Down
how
B, that's the
frustrating it
thunder move.
was. That's how frustrating it was. And like, see what it was. I was playing against people who never played the game that much before, and they just kept spamming those moves. Because that's the thing that gets me is when people
They
button
spam,
mash and
yeah.
spam moves in fighting game. I can't stand that. It's so stupid. Because then they beat you like, oh, I beat you. I'm like, no, you just hit buttons. You didn't even try. So.
Yeah, our cousin
Wonder
always
Traps.
he plays Kirby and spams down B. But the thing is as the games continued to progress, it got mighty punishable. So you just sit there with him in the rock form. He'd pop out of it. And you just fucking slam him with the smash attack.
God.
Man, yeah. Cool stuff. Yeah. We're at the 2-hour mark, as always. Thank you all for joining me today.
Just you? What the fuck? Huh?
I said, what? I'm thanking all of you for joining me. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Thank
you're
you all
welcome,
for
my
listening in, tuning in to episode 17 of the Thought Patrol podcast. These episodes come out every Monday, if time allots. Usually Monday at 8 a.m. I try to get them out. Again, if you want to connect with us, Discord, Twitter, the comments, subscribe, just hang out with us. We'll definitely play a lot of games. We're always doing something somewhere, so just hit us up if you ever want to play a game with us, and we'll let you know. And I'm still waiting for my fucking computer. It's been shipped, so it should be here by next week. So we're excited for that. Definitely going to get into some streaming. Be streaming during the day, streaming sometimes at night, depending on what's going on. And we're super excited to continue to progress. I'm going to get a good webcam for it so we can actually have video again, because my phone just can't do it. It just can't do it. It doesn't want to. So can I get a sign off for everybody?
Oh my.
Okay, I'm sorry for that.
Hugs and
Goodbye.
kisses and all your pink parts.
Hugs and kiss on your pink. What about you, Caitlyn?
I'll see you guys next week. Have
You
a
don't-
good week.
You don't have anything good for us? Think of
I
something.
wish them a good week.
Okay, what about you, Sam?
Jesus.
It comes to a point in your life where you think, did I make the right decision? And at that point, you say,
No.
well, I'm just going to take the bullet.
Me every night.
Okay,
at
Sam
12
will just bring
o'clock.
us a depressing monologue every week when he does his sign off. For Jonathan, I'm going to say rock out with your cock out, because he wanted me to give off a sign off to you guys, and I don't have anything that I say, so thank you all.
Just tell them to have a good week, Kyle. Fuck.
We've already said that like 3 times. So, Caitlyn,
Everybody, I wish you a great week. Don't die. And
drop a like and subscribe
there we
if
go.
you enjoyed the content.
There we go. That's Kyle's sign
Caitlin's
off.
a bitch.
Shut the fuck up, Kyle.
Yeah.
Brotherly love right there.
Fighting words right there. I'll drop you.
Oh,
You want to go?
So after this episode, we're going to be live streaming our Death Cage match.
yeah. Catch it on Twitch.
Sundays. Oh, speaking of fight, I wonder.
Sunday.
I wonder who's going to win tonight.
It's Mayweather and
McGregor.
It's tonight.
yeah, McGregor.
Mayweather.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Mayweather.
Okay.
Actually, no. I want McGregor to win.
Okay. Is McGregor
I want
McGregor the white guy?
McGregor's the white guy.
Don't believe
Because
though.
Now, Caitlyn, is there a reason you want the white
no,
guy to
it's
win?
because the other guy is such an. What's his name? What's the other guy's name?
Mayweather.
Mayweather.
Yeah, Mayweather. He's such a dick. Like if you watch the what's it called?
What is
Like
it
they,
called?
they do these like things. They just sit there and trash talk each other. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You ever
The
seen
weigh-in?
those?
Wait, was the white guy the dude that had the boner while he was trash talking Mayweather?
I don't know. He was the guy that was he?
No way.
Yeah,
He was the
I
guy
don't know
that
if it
was-
was edited, but they were both in each other's face
my
screaming
God.
at each other, and it pans off, and the white dude has a boner. I
He was
like, what the
He
fuck?
was the guy that was wearing a suit, and the lines in the suit said "fuck you,"
Oh, the white
like
guy?
in like really small letters. Like you know
white
how
guy?
Oh,
suits,
like this, it was pinstripe.
yeah, you know how the suits have like the small lines,
Fuck
and
you on it.
yeah, it was. Oh my god, this
That's
guy's so
Mayweather?
classy.
Suit I've ever seen.
That's McGregor.
Is McGregor.
He's so classy. I
McGregor
love
had
him.
the fuck you suit.
Yeah, it was
does he
so
does he
good.
just sometimes wear like
He wears
pants?
no. He's really like he's really classy. He always wears suits.
I'll have to show that to you, because
I'm gonna show
a
you
white
that.
dude was yelling at Mayweather and he had a boner. That's all I know. Okay. All right.
Who doesn't
Tangent-
get a boner when they yell at terrifying boxers?
Is it already on?
I don't know. It's 10 o'clock.
Do you know what time it is on?
Tangent aside. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to follow us if you like our content. Connect with us on socials. It'll all be in the description below. Thank you for tuning in for episode 17 of the Thought Patrol podcast, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Oh, that's a good
See ya.
set.
See, look at this. Look.